Welcome to the world, baby boy, I'll paint you red and white and blue. The indoctrination starts as soon as you come out the womb. Pretty quick, we'll make you stupid with curriculums at school. And if the classroom doesn't do the trick, we'll make you watch the news. Pick your team, right or left, take the red pill or the blue. You can vote, but even if you win, still everyone will lose. Don't forget to buy designer because Gucci makes you cool. We prioritize material belongings over truth.
Get a job that you can't stand so you can buy some cans of food. Go overseas and die for freedom, there's some oil we can use. Our democracy exists so that you think that you can choose, but our algorithms make you do what we want you to do. What's the problem? Your depressed society has you confused. We got medication for you that you'll probably abuse. Go get married to a lady who also don't have a clue, and pump out a few babies that are just the same as you.
Welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here inside the system, violence is a symptom. Fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong. Welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here inside the system, violence is a symptom. Fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong. Welcome to the world, baby girl, I'll paint you pink if that's okay. We'll encourage self-destruction through the music that you play. We divided all the men by trying politics and race, and honestly, it's working awesome, so for you, we'll do the same. Never teaching you to love yourself, inject you full of hate. Objectify your sexuality, then blame you for the rape. And weaponize the differences that make our men and women great. Then just to screw with you, erase the genders.
Everyone's the same. We'll empower you with rights to vote and fight for equal pay. Then have the men turn into women and you'll fight for them again. But you thought you had it figured out, but everything has changed. Welcome to the system. Please enjoy your stay. Here's a Bible and a bottle of the cheapest booze we make. Find a man who can take care of you to fill the holes we made. Buy a house and settle down, fulfill your duty, procreate, and make a couple babies who will also do the same.
Welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here inside the system, violence is a symptom. Fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong. Welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here inside the system, violence is a symptom. Fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong. Welcome to the world, everybody. I'ma paint you black and white. I'ma make you hate each other so that everyone will fight. I'ma give you our religion, let the righteous find the light. But I will also give you science to oppose the word of Christ. And I'ma give you borders, they're imaginary lines. If you cross them, go to war and win when everybody dies. And I'ma give you money that you'll value more than life. And let the 1% have everything while you fight to survive. And then I'll give you politics, I'll call it left and right. And while you divide yourselves, I will conquer both the sides. Can't you see? I'm the system, my whole purpose is divide. What you choose will never matter because everything is mine.
They a bunch of Satanists, criminals, murderers and pedos. We all pray to God while they worshiping the devil. Yeah, it's Hollywood, the royal family, politicians left and right. They seem anti-American, they anti-Christ. They anti-Christ. They anti-Christ. They seem anti-American, they anti-Christ. It ain't left and right no more, cause now it's good and evil. They used to call it a conspiracy, but now it's real. We've seen the files and the facts, don't care how you feel. They having pizza parties and that means they eating people. This might wake them up, QAnon didn't make it up. Missing kids got flown to Jeffrey's Island by who paid enough. The rich and famous, the young eat human flesh, it ain't for fun. It's ancient ritual, sucking adrenochrome from baby's blood. They call us crazy, but they should be behind bars. They call us liars cause they don't wanna get charged. They call us conspiracy theorists, but in their hearts they know all the names they call us ain't as bad as what they are. They are Satanists, criminals, murderers and pedos. We all pray to God while they worshiping the devil. Yeah, it's Hollywood, the royal family, politicians left and right. They seem anti-American, they anti-Christ. They anti-Christ. They anti-Christ. They seem anti-American, they anti-Christ. It ain't a culture war no more, the real fight is started. We've been up against each other, but now we the targets. It's the rappers, it's the actors, the elites in charge. It's kings and queens, they all bowing to the prince of darkness. Things ain't getting better, they run the world with rich investors. The cult came from Egyptian deserts, now they cannibals in Gucci sweaters. Using AI to fuel agendas, control the news, the truth, the weather. Now we're ruled by a group of dudes who are all satanic child molesters. They call us crazy, but they should be behind bars. They call us liars cause they don't wanna get charged. They call us conspiracy theorists, but in their hearts they know all the names they call us ain't as bad as what they are. They are Satanists, criminals, murderers and pedos. We all pray to God while they worshiping the devil. Yeah, it's Hollywood, the royal family, politicians left and right. They seem anti-American, they anti-Christ.
What if there was a certain group that tried to end this slavery? Well, that is why I'm here, to tell and educate you about Q.
The greatest military operation the world has ever seen.
People who believe in the QAnon conspiracy theory.
It's like an alternative reality plan.
This summer, QAnon shaman pushing QAnon theories.
QAnon. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Conspiracy theories are continuing.
Satan worshippers and pedophiles who eat babies.
And that you are the savior of them.
I just don't know about QAnon.
Follow the vision of President John F. Kennedy, who predicted the rise of special operations nearly 60 years ago.
In my former life, I was an insider as much as anybody else. And I knew to be an insider, it's not bad. Now I'm being punished for leaving the special club and revealing to you the terrible things that are going on having to do with our country.
WikiLeaks releasing the newest batch of what are believed to be campaign chairman John Podesta.
Endorsing Clinton campaign chair John Podesta. The drip-fed out on WikiLeaks.
Your steadfast commitment to end human trafficking. And your
Pizzagate. It became a major
today because I was watching between Pizzagate and
maybe part of a child sex trafficking ring.
Time to drain the swamp, which, by the way, we are keeping open,
and to keep open the detention facilities in Guantanamo Bay.
And we're going to load it up with some bad dudes, believe me, we're going to load it up. I will totally obliterate the deep state. Because I used to be part of the club, I'm the only one that can fix it. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement, and we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again.
Welcome to the next generation of warfare, psychological warfare. In modern conflict, the mind is a potent weapon. Discover General Michael T. Flynn's groundbreaking guide, The Citizen's Guide to 5th Generation Warfare. Unlock tactics, strategies, and the mindset to navigate this cognitive battlefield that we all find ourselves in. Equip yourself against manipulation and emerge unscathed. Unleash your potential. Order now.
It is June 1st, 2026. Let me get some 5x5, some loud and clears. Yes, we're with you, Alpha, in the chats because we're live, and I just want to make sure that our sound and audio is good. And I know that there's usually anywhere between a 20 and a 40-second delay. So I'll buy a little time as I wait for those 5x5s to come in on YouTube, on Rumble, Facebook, X, Substack, and there they are. And right out of the gate, Miss Ray, a freedom fighter. Always coming, and there's all of them. Appreciate it very much. All right, good. So we know sound quality is good. We got a long show tonight, folks, so that's why we started early, right? The people on the East Coast are like, you playing, Alpha? It's 11 o'clock at night. It ain't early. We're working on that, but it's 8 o'clock on the West Coast, which is maybe the best coast. All right, we're good. All the different ones. All right, so Tom McDonald, that fire you guys up. It fired me up. Make sure you go and support that guy's music. You know, when we use these artists, you know, in the intro to kind of let the show build up and get everybody in here and chatting, saying hi and catching up with each other's days, which I love to just watch the chat and just watch all you guys, you know, family. I like that. But remember, we go and support these artists too, buy their music, subscribe to them, share them, follow on their socials. And then he saw the intro. It's going to be some decent Q conversations tonight. A lot of, let's go back to the roots, right? Patriots in control, trust the plan, saving Israel for last. Some great news. Tina Peters is free. And Trump went and told the world. And we're going to explain what all that means. There's a lot of other stuff in between that we're going to be covering. It will be a very important show, and I'm fired up. June, folks. We're right about that middle mark of the year, which means there's going to be significant play this summer. You know, we keep moving. Every phase has a precipice. And so as we hit these different precipices, we're like, okay, here comes the new phase. And we know what's coming in November, and we're seeing the setup play out here. So let's pay some bills. Let's get into this while we're here. If you guys can do me a solid, whatever platform you're watching on, smash the heart, hit the thumb, leave a comment, and share this out. I want to, let's see if we can get 1,000 people watching live on these different platforms, you know, pretty early on. And again, I can't go through all my sponsors, partners, and affiliates, but down in the description on whatever platform you're watching, they'll be there, except X. X doesn't let us do it, folks. So you can go visit AlphaWarrior.tv, or you can jump on one of these other platforms to get in there. So first on deck, before I even hit the ad, you guys know we're going with Goldco. I'm sorry. Goldco. I'm reading Goldco. We're going with Pet Club. And people ask, and I'm probably going to do like a quick mini show and let everybody know what my daily regimen looks like and what I take. But these are the two that I start the day off with right here. Enforce Plus with Rishi, and then Enforce Clarity. And then as I progress into the day, you guys have heard me talk about the blood pressure one. This is the red one. This is the Restore. And if you guys can see, I know it's a little hard to see the label, but you'll see it on there. And then you got Shield. Those are the two that I take a little later on in the day. For my size and weight, I do 2 of each of those every one. So 4 my mushroom food in the morning, and then 4 later on in the evening. Like I said, I'll get into that ad now, but I just wanted you guys to know that is the stuff that I swear by, along with some other stuff. So with that, Pet Club.
Science proves that a healthy immune system is the body's first defense against the smallest of ailments to the most catastrophic. Coriolus versicolor is the most sought-after, all-natural supplement for both humans and pets to help boost the immune system. There are over 400 studies worldwide on its effectiveness in humans, including Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, MD Anderson Cancer Center, and now from the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine Together, we can help reverse this terrible tide now plaguing your loved ones and give them the immune-boosting supplements that they need.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, My Pillow mattresses and My Pillow mattress toppers, as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale, only $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free.
The Feel Great Protocol.
Again, all those fantastic sponsors, partners, and affiliates down in the description below. So if you like that teaser video that I showed in the beginning of the show tonight, shout out to Solito 46107740. That was the one that at least shared that video. I don't know if he or she created it, but they did. Next, just to start off the general news to get us in the mood and get all our brains functioning, Nick Sorter reports just now, Jeff Bezos' New Glenn rocket has exploded into a massive fireball on the launch pad of Cape Canaveral in Florida. It literally looks like a nuclear bomb went off. Elon Musk responded, "Most unfortunate. Rockets are hard. Insane to watch." And that was a couple days ago on the 28th. Interesting enough, Elon ended up coming in a little bit later on, you keep trying, and he was a little supportive. I mean, it wasn't really the competition we saw, but this one right here, rockets are hard. I don't know. You guys are going to see as we go through the conversations tonight, there's a lot of terms, words, phrases that are being used by different people. Some of these phrases, you're going to be like, oh, that's from our community, but you're going to see them being used in another theme of what's going on in the world. I don't think that that's by accident. And hopefully by the end of the show, maybe you guys can help me find a rhyme or reason to what's going on. And of course, this nasty stuff, Election Wizard puts out new Google planning to release millions of mosquitoes into California to allegedly help stop diseases. The tech giant is seeking federal approval to release up to 32 million specially treated mosquitoes in California and Florida over the next 2 years as part of an effort to reduce the spread of mosquito-borne diseases, including the West Nile virus, St. Louis encephalitis, dengue, Zika, chikungunya, and yellow fever. I actually think I did pretty good on that word. The proposal is currently under review by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, which is accepting public comments through June the 5th before deciding whether to issue an experimental use permit per the NYP. Now, I was talking with CanCon on this one. Some of you may have caught that conversation. And we're just like, y'all need to keep this genetic stuff away from us. But one of the things that CanCon did add, I didn't have a chance to go verify it, but I do trust Ken, but I just want to make sure I give you guys that stuff, is that it's the male mosquitoes that have been modified. And so I was just like, because when these male mosquitoes then mate with the female mosquitoes, they're going to render the female mosquitoes where they can't give, they can't have eggs, they can't be impregnated, whatever you would call that in a mosquito. And so I was like, well, what happens with one of these male mosquitoes, bites a woman? Is it going to affect their ability, to have babies or, whatever the case may be? And he said, well, male mosquitoes don't bite. And so there's interesting. So are we finally, here's I guess where I'm getting at. I'm going to get some hate mail on this one. Just hear me out, folks. Hear me out. We know everything's always been weaponized against us, right? They create the problem because they always have the solution, right? And whether it's the medical field, whether it's to strip away our rights, we know that. We know government has never been for us. It's been there to enslave us. Like, I get that. And we're all on the same page when it comes to that. However, there has to be a turning point to when we start to take back control of honest science, when we start to take back control of a government that's for the people, by the people. There's going to come a point when religious institutions are going to abide by what the faith actually called for. Like that's all a turning point. And I feel, and it's justified. I'm not saying it's not justified, but I feel like we've swung so far. You know, they always say the pendulum comes this way. We've swung so far this way, and we don't trust anything, that we're starting to develop the opinion of we'll never, ever like or support these institutions. And notice I didn't throw the word trust in there, right? And at some point, as we start to get our people into positions of power, whether it's in industry, private, or government, we have to start getting back into supporting these things. Now, granted, they got to show us. There's got to be a lot of transparency. And I'm not saying that we're there yet by any means, because we're still in the fight for this country and humanity. But I just want people to realize, let's not get to the point where we're just never going to give our government a chance. Because what happens when people like you or me become a mayor or a congressman or a governor or a health secretary or a president or a vice president? We're going to want our people to get behind us. And I think as we start to see names and people that we know get into those positions, I think we'll start to slowly go back into that way of life. But I say all that to say this: if these mosquitoes are utilizing good science to go and self-correct bad science that was out there, then I'm behind it. I just don't know. You guys can let me know in the comments. I know you guys will be like, Alpha, I ain't selling out, folks. You guys know me. I try to not get too emotionally involved to where I can't logically, map this stuff out. And I just kind of want to get you guys on the same page with me. Let's keep going because we got a lot to cover tonight. ABC News reports Mexican authorities say they found an 869-foot tunnel in Tijuana that likely connects to a well-known street in San Diego. I mean, look at that. You got those federales literally on a trolley thing that's being pulled through there. So again, they are trying to come up with creative ways to get into this country. Now, do I think that they created a sophisticated tunnel system like this? Because just so you guys know, they run power through these things and they run ventilation through these things. I do not personally believe that this is something that's utilized to bring in illegals. I don't think that they would do something like that or even risk it, because one of these illegals gets caught and it's like, hey, American, U.S. Marshals, FBI, if y'all let me stay here, right, I'll tell you where this tunnel is that I came through. Like, they know these things. I don't think they're going to jeopardize it. What I do think that this is for is narcotics trafficking, weapons trafficking, getting terrorists into our country, and child trafficking. I think that is something that this is probably utilized for. But again, we found it, and they're going to be able to check the depths of these things, and hopefully they can develop some type of intelligence to find more. But just know, again, folks, this is the warfare that's going on in our country. So there's the information stuff that we focus on and concentrate on a lot, but there's still this kinetic part that's taking place. And of course, you can see the little bags of, look like, maybe meth or coke or something. Brianna Morales puts, just released, President Donald J. Trump's physician has released his annual medical examination at the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. President Trump's cardiac age is approximately 14 years younger than his chronological age. President Trump remains in excellent health, demonstrating strong cardiac, pulmonary, neurological, and overall physical function. His demanding daily schedule, including multiple high-level meetings, public engagements, and regular physical activity, continues to support his overall well-being. Cognitive and physical performance are excellent. He is fully fit to carry out all the duties of the commander-in-chief and the head of state. 14 years younger. I want my heart to be 14 years younger than what I'm doing right now. And again, I'm taking all these good stuff. And again, folks, here's just to kind of go back to what I was saying earlier. One, I really do appreciate all of you that have emailed me or messaged me in whatever capacity to kind of tell me about your journey and your health journey. And, some of the stuff that I've put out there, whether it be on social media or things that I've said on this show that has inspired you. And I just want to say, I appreciate you guys recognizing that, but also know that you guys motivate me too. It's not just me trying to go and study stuff and develop an assessment. It's the recognition that, thousands of you, give me your time, give me your ear, give me your eyes, and to at least some extent, rely on the work that I do. And I just want you guys to know that that's something that I appreciate, and I do take that with a deep amount of responsibility. So if I get it wrong, forgive me. Just know that I am trying. So let's keep going. Eric Dowdy says, breaking, the DOJ has launched a criminal investigation into Eugene Carroll for perjury and her deranged lawsuits against Donald Trump. Holy FAFO, Attorney General Todd Blanche has recused himself from the case. They can't cry weaponization. You can tell CNN is devastated. Our sources tell us that this investigation is focused on a 22 deposition that Carroll gave, where she said that she had not received any outside funding. Take a listen to this, folks. This is great.
We have a special guest, so I'll take this opportunity to announce that, yes, Tina Peters has been released successfully. And
we jumped ahead of ourselves there. Hold on. We're going to get to that one, folks. We're going to get to that one.
Justice Department, CNN is learning, has launched a new criminal investigation into one of Trump's enemies, E. Jean Carroll. Now, E. Jean Carroll was the former magazine columnist who accused President Donald Trump of sexual assault. Ended up being that he was liable for sexual abuse. The source is telling CNN that the investigation now is focused on whether Carroll committed perjury during her 2 civil lawsuits against the president. Paula Reed is breaking the story, and she's out front. And Paula, what else are you learning about this? I mean, there was obviously a verdict here.
That's right. And here, Aaron, this is the latest move by the Justice Department to take action against one of President Trump's long-standing foes. Our sources tell us that this investigation is focused on a 2022 deposition that Carroll gave, where she said that she had not received any outside funding. Now, her lawyers later told the judge that she had, in fact, received funding for legal fees and expenses from billionaire Reid Hoffman. The judge overseeing this case ultimately said there were no issues with her credibility and blocked Trump lawyers from asking about this at trial. Now, Carroll currently has multiple legal battles with Trump currently pending, including one before the Supreme Court. And notably, Aaron, the Supreme Court has deferred 12 times on a decision whether they want to take up that case. Now, over at the Justice Department, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, I am told, has recused from this case because he worked on one of the appeals related to the Carroll case. Now, I'm told he has not attended any meetings or been in any discussions about this investigation. The case is currently being handled out of the U.S. Attorney's Office in Chicago. Now, tonight, the Justice Department issued a statement saying, quote, "We can confirm that no U.S. Attorney's Office has declined to investigate any case relating to the subject matter of CNN's inquiry. We will not comment beyond that." Now, Carroll's team tonight declined to comment. Aaron?
All right.
Ladies, going down, folks. So all those liberals and crazies that have been attacking, us, and President Trump, saying, oh, he was charged with, RAPE, right? Got to be careful. I know we're on YouTube. I'm trying to keep us live over there. The boomerang, folks. 2026, the year of the boomerang. So that's going to be great. I personally think that Eugene Carroll is going to, like everyone else, these low-hanging fruits, she's going to provide the DOJ and say, hey, look, let's make a deal, and I will tell you who did fund me. I'll tell you where the encouragement came, whether it was the Biden's administration, whether it was a news agency, whatever the case. This lady she ain't loyal, obviously, so she's going to sing like a bird, and I'm looking forward to see who she gets rid of. Let's keep going. Enoch puts out, Trump calls out massive sentencing scandal. We got some good news tonight. That'll kind of soften the blow of this one. But if we didn't have this good news, this is going to be one that would have pissed a lot of people off. Trump calls out massive sentencing scandal. So unfair to Tina Peters. 9 years versus 0. What's he talking about? Trump reposted Governor Jared Polis highlighting how a Democrat ex-state senator got probation for the exact same felony as Tina Peters, while the non-violent election official received a shocking 9-year prison sentence, referring to Tina. And then you see Trump put in right there, so unfair to Tina Peters, 9 years versus 0. Absolutely unfair. And then we got Jane Zinkel putting out 2 days ago, breaking Tina Peters to walk out of prison on Monday, which brings us to here. Breaking, it is official. Tina Peters released from Colorado prison. Let's go. The MAGA pressure worked. Her rights were violated, and they admitted it. Peters, it's been quite the ordeal, but I really want to thank God for faithfulness and getting me through it. And now we'll play that clip.
We do have a special guest, so I'll take this opportunity to announce that, yes, Tina Peters has been released successfully, and she is safe.
Hi, Steve.
Tina, tell us what's it like to be finally a free woman?
You know, Steve, I'm not even sure yet. After 606 days in prison, it's been quite the ordeal. But I really want to thank God for His faithfulness and getting me through it. And it's been, I think, probably for me, Steve, to impress upon every person out there how hard it is to lose your liberty, how easy it is to lose your liberty, but how hard it is to endure it. And, and I'm so grateful to the supporters out there that have stood with me. My close circle, Marcy, my best friend, who I called every day. After they kept putting me in the hole, she made me promise to call her in the morning and at night every day. So people that wanted to get me a message could always reach her. And of course, with Apollo and Jared and Barbara and, the other ones that have stood by me, and especially my attorneys, John Case.
Apollo looking like he's in the mafia right there. I like Apollo. He's a good dude. I'm pretty sure we will have Tina on the show in the near future. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be reaching out to her. So we will reach out to her in the next few days, and I'm pretty sure we'll do that. Here's what I got to say about Tina is that's one of America's most strongest, most powerful patriots. What this woman has endured, for those of you that don't know, son, Navy SEAL, and died in a parachuting accident, as it's reported. So she already has given so much. And then she goes and decides she's going to be a part of our election system. Everybody complains, and she says, well, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to be a part of the process. And then while she's a part of the process, and she tries to identify election fraud, rather than the government being like, thank you for bringing this to our attention, a corrupt, tyrannical government said in Colorado, well, now we're going to persecute you and take away your freedom and defame you and destroy your name. It's what she did. You have, about 2 years where this woman's been in prison. And I'll tell you, man, that's rough. And so, again, prayers to her. There might be some PTSD issues and things like that she's going to have to resolve. But nonetheless, Tal 22, I'm very suspicious on that accident as well. That's why I said as it was reported. But nonetheless, this woman is an absolute patriot. I remember the first time that I got to meet her in person. There's some very interesting circumstances that I won't talk about just yet. That'll be for the future. I realized firsthand how brave this woman actually is. So shout out to Tina, and we're glad you're home. Let's keep going. Johnny Mago puts out, CNN, tell us why you're still planning on performing at Freedom 250, even as so many others are canceling. Vanilla Ice. So if you guys don't know, there's these artists that were supposed to be a part of the 250 celebration that Trump's putting together for our country, and all of a sudden they're backing out. Well, it's too political. It's this. Yeah, listen, they knew all the time that they were going to back out. They want to rug pull this celebration that Trump's trying to put together for our country. Even though it's not about Trump, it's about our country. They don't care. So Vanilla Ice goes and he drops this little gem on CNN. And if you guys don't remember, I'm dating myself. Ice Ice Baby. That's who this is.
Tell us why you're still planning on performing, even though we've heard that from the president, when so many other performers are deciding not to.
I don't know. I can only speak for myself, and I'm proud to be an American. I was born here and raised here, and this is my country, and I don't like anybody telling me I really can't be proud of it. And this is a huge honor to play the birthday. It's once in a lifetime, 250. So I'm honored, and just, you know, I respect everybody else. I know there's a lot of tension everywhere. This whole world is like a snow globe, but it shouldn't be that. And music is here to bring people together, man. And, you know, it shouldn't be that this music is dragged into politics. It's not fair, you know. I don't even vote. I'm not a politician. I don't have anything I don't even have the first thing to say about how to run a country or do anything like that. I think this is a huge honor. And I'm wanting to celebrate the country I was born and raised in, man. And we didn't.
Shout out to Vanilla Ice. And I'm pretty sure Trump already had his contingency plan of artists that he had ready. So I don't know. Maybe we see Vanilla Ice. Maybe we see some Nicki Minaj. Maybe we see Chris Rock. Maybe you see John Rich. It's going to be a great one regardless. Let's keep going. Disclosed TV puts in Justin. Trump appoints Pam Bondi to the White House AI panel. Bondi will be tasked with facilitating coordination between the government and AI companies on the panel. Bondi will also serve in a newly established advisory role on national infrastructure. Now, that's the part I want to highlight right there. Why? Because what's something that's considered part of our national infrastructure now? Elections. What do we know was sweeping through the desk of Bondi's office while she was the Attorney General? Undoubtedly, our elections. And now she's going to be part of this AI panel that is probably being used in these RICO investigations as she's heading up a role in national infrastructure. You get what I'm saying? Is these people are being shuffled around in a way that it protects them and allows Trump to keep everybody on their toes. But the fact that this advisory role is going to be into national infrastructure, I personally believe is going to have a lot to do with elections, which will bring us into the Tulsi Gabbard conversation over the next few weeks, because she's going to be dropping all the tea before she leaves in the end of this month. Let's keep going. Pam Bondi says, not true. What is she talking about? C-SPAN puts out, California Democrat Rep. Robert Garcia puts, outside former Attorney General Pam Bondi's deposition, the Epstein probe, she continues to push all of the investigation and blame it on acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. Let's listen to this clown lie.
We continue to say that this should be recorded by video and released to the American public, and we're also asking that Chairman Comer immediately release the transcripts that right now are being done throughout today. I want to also say just a few other things. It is clear in just this part of the interview that she continues to push all of the investigation and the blame on acting AG Todd Blanche. She said, and I quote, acting AG Blanche was managing the entire investigation, end quote. And what you're going to hear in that interview, and what she's saying here in her words and remarks, is that it was Todd Blanche, the current acting AG, that was leading the Epstein investigation. And quite frankly, all of the mistakes that we saw, the redactions, not protecting survivors, she continues to push that back onto the acting AG, Todd Blanche, who, by the way, was Donald Trump's former personal lawyer.
So that's what Pam Bondi's referring to when she says not true. I praise acting Attorney General Blanche's management of the Herculean task. I said his ethics are beyond reproach and that he is an incredible Attorney General. And this is the warfare that's taking place with politics. And of course, I'm in California, and these Democrats in California are going to go through every length to try to subvert this presidency. And we love what Blanche has been doing. But I like the fact that Pam Bondi, despite all the criticism that's been put against her, is still out there fighting for this team, which tells me that these people are all still on very good terms with each other. Let's keep going. Now, President Trump reveals that he has obtained bombshell fraud payments totaling hundreds of billions of dollars in fraud. Oh, you haven't seen anything yet.
A couple of very strong women, too. But I was watching that last night. I said, I'm proud of you guys. In 2 months, we've exposed tens of billions of dollars of defrauded taxpayer money, prosecuted numerous fraudsters, Todd, and stopped billions of suspicious payments, very suspicious. Oh, you haven't seen anything yet? What do you see? I'm getting reports from Todd, from JD. I've never seen anything like it. The kind of just hundreds of billions of dollars was stolen And no other administration would do what we're doing. They'd let it go. Everybody was getting rich. And I think we have a chance to save Social Security without doing anything to it by just the numbers of fraudulent.
Without even doing anything to it, folks, I'm telling you, we are going to find out that the U.S. population is not what they told us. And this goes back to the theory that I presented last year, early last year, when Trump tasked Elon with Doge. And Doge presented, if you remember, the email request to the FBI and a few other federal agencies where you just had to write back. It was 4 things on, I think it was what your daily tasks are, or your weekly tasks. It was very simple requests. And you had people coming out, we're too busy, we're not going to do this. And I said, this ain't got nothing to do with Elon or anybody even caring about what these tasks are. This is completely to show that there are fake employees, that there are paychecks going out to employee numbers, and this is helping to facilitate this large amount of fraud that's going out there. Well, do you think they stopped at employees? Where do you think they got the employee idea from? It's probably all these people that are on Social Security, that are on social services, food stamps, cash aid, you name it, that don't exist. And I think what we're going to find out is that our population is a hell of a lot smaller than we've been told, which is probably why the Democrats have tried to get so many illegals into our country. But on that note, that means that the world population is also probably what we haven't been told. Just something to consider. And I'm sure we'll learn more about that over the next 2 years. Breaking, Governor Ron DeSantis confirms a historic move to abolish property taxes for all Florida homeowners who live here as their primary residence. You guys are tempting me in Florida. I'm getting ready to move my family. I want to stay here in California. Who wins governorship here in November is very big on that, huge. But man, I don't know. I think if Chad Bianco is to win governor in California, he'd probably look and be like, I like this idea that Ron's putting out there. Let's keep going. If you're a Florida resident, we want that to be tax-free. It's headed to the voters on the ballot, and a schedule will be set to get rid of them. This ballot measure will do an opening salvo of raising it. The exemption to $250,000 adjusted for inflation so that they can't play games. That will be 60% of Florida homesteaders tax-free. Then as they raise it, the legislator will be able to raise that and have a process to do that. Once you get to $500,000 limit, that's 92% of the homeowners, and then on as it goes from there. But if we don't give homeowners relief, Maria, by 2032, they're going to be taking in $83 billion. I got to give it to Ron. He's doing some good work in Florida. Take a listen.
Represent 4 straight years of spending reductions in the state of Florida, and we're very proud of that. But at the local level, which is where the property tax revenue goes, we've gone from local governments taking $32 billion in 2019 in taxes to now $60 billion. That's almost 100% increase in revenue. And look, part of it is people have moved here. Part of it is that property values have gone up, but homeowners need relief. And so it's my view that if you are a Florida resident and you have a homestead, we want that to be tax-free. And so that's our vision. That represents about 30% of the overall property tax revenue, because they still tax investment property, commercial property. And so this ballot measure will do an opening salvo of raising it, the exemption to $250,000 adjusted for inflation, so they can't play games. That will be 60% of Florida homesteaders tax-free. Then as they raise it, the legislature will be able to raise that and have a process to do that. Once you get to $500,000 limit, that's 92% of homeowners, and then on it goes from there. But if we don't give homeowners relief, Maria, by 2032, they're going to be taking in $83 billion. So that would mean $32 billion in 2019. 13 years later, it goes to $83 billion. That is not sustainable. And so this is really a historic opportunity to have more money in people's pockets and to actually have their home be their private property that the government just can't use as a piggy bank.
I'm telling you, it's tempted, but I saw some of you in the chat said, Alfie, you survived in California this long. And listen, and I love this state. The state's beautiful. We got the ocean. We got the mountains. We got the deserts, we have dunes. It's a beautiful state. And of course, I don't want to leave. I want to stay here and fight for it and make sure that we sustain this. Because again, for those of you that don't know, California represents the largest GDP as a state in our union. I believe it's right at around 14 or 15%. And then second would be Texas, I think around 8 or 9%. And then third is New York. And so you see why these states get attacked so much, because of what they represent economically to our country. But I also don't, mind starting a new adventure with the family somewhere else. So we will see, to be determined. But again, Ron DeSantis, is he trying to position himself for presidency? I think he kind of ruined that one when he went against Trump and he got the white boots out there. But maybe he's trying to get into the administration. Whatever the case, he's definitely setting up Florida for some success. Now, to kind of get us shifting into a really good gear as we approach the themes for tonight's show, Trump supporter puts out Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent dropped a bombshell warning. Now, for all of you that have been saying, where are the arrests? Where are the arrests? And for all of us that have been pushing back against you guys, saying that there is a process, I told you guys about these markers. And so anyways, let me play this clip from him. It's a short one. It's about 20 seconds. And then we'll get into a little bit more of this.
President Trump has declared Antifa a domestic terrorist organization, and anyone who is funding a domestic terrorist organization should know that you will be examined and you will be held accountable if you are funding or responsible for these riots, for this violence. This violence has to stop.
So let's continue. Q Minister of Truth puts out breaking: all 9 members of Antifa cell in Texas have just been found guilty of terrorism charges brought by the DOJ per Mr. Andy Ngo. This is huge, as it's the first terrorism trial against Antifa members in the U.S. history. A precedent has been set. Terrorist ambush ICE. So again, we go back to Scott Bessent. What does he say? Antifa deemed terrorist organization, domestic terrorist organization. Now we bring it to Texas, where you got these Antifa members that have been found guilty. And if you guys go all the way back to last year, what did I say? All right, because people I always say I told you so, because I told you so, and I need people to start listening, because there is a pattern of what we see going on here that supports more RICO cases, not just Russia. And what I told you guys was the same way we do gang cases is the same way they do these. It's just it's a higher echelon. It's got a little bit more Hollywood to it, because it's a bigger thing, right? Well, you got to have precedent. And that precedent is what's going to be used in these RICO cases. This is why you see people playing out on these election fraud cases all over the country. Those cases are going to be precedent. When Comey pleads, because he's going to, it's going to be precedent. When Bolton pleads, because he's going to, it's going to be precedent. And even when we get to Brennan, we'll see if if a plea is in the making for him. That'll kind of tell us how far up he was in the command structure of the deep state globalist regime that's there. But again, folks, that's what it is. So I'm very happy to see that Q Minister of Truth used that word. A precedent has been set, because that's what people need to start using, so people can recognize it, because words matter in an information war. But folks, this is RICO, and this is evidence that this is the direction we're going. On top of that, all that happens on May 31st, yesterday. And why is that important? Because if you go to Q Post 4362, May 31st, 2020 Delta. And what is it talking about right there? POTUS, FBI, DOJ, DHS action coming against Antifa. To the Delta. Come on. Anti-American domestic terrorists, organized fascists, extreme radicals, violent POTUS action coming. He just deemed them domestic terrorists. Homeland Security, FBI, DOJ action coming. Investigations may lead to DF support targets Q. And of course, we have Trump's posts from May 31st, 2020. The United States of America will be designating Antifa as a terrorist organization. And he has kept on that promise. Promises made, promises kept. I know we're beyond the need for Q proofs, but Q post May 30th, 2020, POTUS tweet May 31st, 2020. Did they even realize that we would be talking about this in May 31st, 2026? Keyword insurgency, but we ain't done there. May 31st, let's go to another one. 4366. Antifa mapping started a long time ago, which is corroborating those conversations from 2020, but it's also corroborating what me and Josh were telling you guys last year when they were talking about the No Kings, when they were talking about Antifa going to Washington. You know, they're in Delaney, New Jersey right now with the ICE facilities. And what does all this tell you? We said the reason they're not able to get the maximum chaos effect that they want is because they've been infiltrated. We have our guys in them, which means that we're allowed to minimize the chaos that they try to create. Again, why and how do we know? Because 4366 tells us Antifa mapping started a long time ago, and we've seen all the markers to support that. Which brings me to the last May 31st delta that we'll be talking about for a little bit. That we get a little bit later on the show tonight. 4368. Buckle up. Here we go. Why is that going to matter? You'll see in just a little bit. Just in, President Trump posts, time to audit Fort Knox. Good. Finally, this is long overdue. Former CIA official arrested after the feds found $40 million worth of gold bars stashed at his home. It needs to be audited. And I do have this clip for you guys. So take a listen here.
I think when you first got into office, you and Elon Musk talked about auditing the
Well,
gold
we
to
wanted
make
to go
sure it's
knock
there.
on the door, Fort Knox, very thick door, and to see whether or not we have any gold in there, you know, because we'll take a look at it. It's a very interesting question, yeah. We played with that. I wonder if they left the gold in Fort Knox, because they steal a lot.
No need to really do that, though?
Well, I don't know. I think it's... I do want to go to Fort Knox sometime. I want to see if the gold is there, which I'm sure it will be.
The man knows. Just to let you guys know, I do see the Rumble rants coming in and the gifted subscriptions, and thank you for that. I'll be reading those at the end of the show. And anybody watching on YouTube, if you become a subscriber there on YouTube, or if you do a super chat, I'll also be reading those at the end of the show to make sure you guys get some love from me live on the air. So just want to make sure you guys don't think that I'm missing them. I do see them. Again, Fort Knox, the gold, why does all this matter? And remember the buckle up. We'll come back to it. Ed Martin says, our time is coming hard. This is May 27, 2026. If you guys have been following Eagle Ed Martin, a lot of respect for this man, right? He posts religious scripture all the time. This is a man that lives by the word of God, in addition to helping our country and serving President Trump and serving the people. When he says our time is coming, and then if the next question is, well, what does that look like, Ed? He says hard. I think this supports the theory that I have when the Save America Act doesn't pass, which we're going to talk about later on the show, so I'm not going to get ahead of us. But again, just be prepared. Again, like I said, this man lives by scripture, and if you follow him, you will see that. Which now takes us into the Department of War CTO. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth has approved the second round of appointments to the recently established Science, Technology, and Innovation Board, STIB, bringing the newly unified advisory board to a total of 33 members. Why they miss with those numbers? Pete, you trying to make our job hard, man. You know people are going to start coming in talking about the Freemasons and all that stuff. Or maybe it is. Maybe it's signaling those guys. I don't know. But I'm like, you can't get 32 or go 34. Y'all got to play with 33 all the time. By bringing together top-tier talent that combines scientific and technical rigor with private sector agility, the STIB serves as a single unified voice for innovation. This newly integrated board replaces competing recommendations with fast, coherent guidance to support and equip the joint force. And I'll scroll through these real quick for those of you that may want to screenshot to research them later. And again, there you have the old poster style marketing. Science, Technology, and Innovation Board, 33 appointments. And then while they're pointing at the Pentagon, if you want further information, go to stib.cto.mil. And then the last one, then we're going to get into the themes. Blonde Lady 2024 says, Trump just swore in over 80 new immigration judges to facilitate deportation. That conversation is going to come into play a little bit later. So while we're here and before we shift, let me read one of my Rumble ads for you folks. If they got one, let me go full screen with me real quick, just to make it easier for when you guys scan that QR code. And you should see that QR code on the screen right about now. There it is. All right, parents, real talk for a second. America is about to hit a huge milestone. We're coming up on America's 250th birthday, 250 years of freedom, grit, sacrifice, and the greatest experiment in self-government the world has ever seen. This is the perfect moment to help your kids understand why this country matters, not just fireworks and hot dogs, but the story behind it all. There's a free guide called The Kid's Guide to America's 250th Birthday, and it's honestly a great way to introduce kids to how America began, who the founding fathers were, and what they risked and why the ideas they fought for still matter today. This guide sends kids back to the moment when brave men signed the Declaration of Independence, knowing full well they were risking their lives for freedom. It breaks it all down in a way kids can actually understand and enjoy without watering it down or turning it into boring schoolwork. If you care about raising kids who know where this country came from and why it's worth preserving, this is something you'll want to grab. And the best part, it's completely free with a special offer. You just need to pay $2 for shipping and postage. Just head to freeusabirthday.com. That's freeusabirthday.com and the Kid's Guide to America's 250th Birthday for your kids today. America's story matters. Make sure the next generation knows it. You guys will see that link in the live chat. You'll see it populate down in the description if you're watching the replay. Now, let's get into some of our themes. And what do we have here? Breaking, that's the one we just read. There we go. Enoch puts, FBI arrests senior CIA official David Rush after seizing $40 million in stolen gold bars from his Virginia home. FBI raid on May 18, 2026 uncovered 303 gold bars. Take out the zero, there's that 33 again, folks. Each one 1 kilogram, worth over $40 million, plus dozens of luxury watches, mini Rolexes, and reports of $2 million in cash at his Fairfax County, Virginia residence, which reminds me of that Border Patrol officer that had his hand up like this. And what was right there? It was a Rolex. They were trying to say it was fake, but it wasn't. So are they signaling us to look into Rolexes, to dig on Rolexes? I don't know. Maybe it's just a coincidence. So I just wanted to put that out there. Rush, a former senior CIA officer with top secret clearance in a management role, allegedly requested large amounts of gold bars and foreign currency from the CIA between November 2025 through March of 2026, claiming that they were for work-related operational expenses. Most were found at his home instead of a secure storage. He faces federal charges of theft of public money, including fraudulent timesheets. Investigators also allege he inflated academic credentials and military background claims. The case started with the CIA internal investigation referred to the FBI by Director John Radcliffe. Both agencies confirm the arrests. Now, for those of you that watch the AlphaWarrior Show on Wednesdays, you know that's a show that I do with my co-host, Colonel Towner, retired Air Force, and it's called Operation Gladio. And if we know going to, the last year and a half now, what we've been documenting is Trump taking out the financial structure for this globalist deep state. What are we talking about? USAID, National Endowment for Democracy, the NGOs. He totally took down their ability to do the white collar money laundering. And then we see them going after the cartels. Then we see them going after La M here in California, targeting MS-13. So he's taking out the dark, the black market, the underground money laundering. We know that the globalist deep state regime right now, Act Blue, yes, FTX, all those, we know that he's destroying the financial infrastructure to the deep state. And so now, if we go back to a comment John Brennan made, but 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, during an interview, and he says we still have a legion of people in the intelligence apparatus in the government. What's he telling you? That's Gladio, folks. And so what are they doing is they are trying to use their operatives that are within the government. And guess what? The good guys are watching them. And that's why this guy got caught. Now, will he talk? We'll see. Gladio guys typically ain't the snitching type. So we'll see how much they can find as far if he was able to cover his tracks or not. Again, FBI response. FBI and Texas authorities arrest 276 suspected child predators rescue 89 children in sweeping operation. Yes, 89, 8 plus 9 is 17. I see it too, folks. I still don't want to take away from the fact that they rescued children and arrested almost 300 child predators. So every time people tell you nothing's happening, where's the arrests? We're well over 16,000 predators that have been arrested. And right now we got another 276 out there in Texas. So if you're in Texas, you definitely should be happy about that one. Let's keep going. And again, Pam Bondi puts amazing work, and she's talking about Operation Sothita Shield, 2-month FBI op with 91 federal plus state and local partners, 276 subjects arrested and 89 children rescued. And here's a bigger image of that for you guys to take a look at. What happens in the dark will be brought to the light. And so again, here's the picture from the FBI. And if you read this sentence, yeah, you guys can see my mouse moving right there. What happens in the dark will be brought to light. Dark to light, folks. Folks, you want to seriously? We want to call that a coincidence? Cash had the Punisher socks. You guys remember that? He posts an image, dark to light. We are right at that precipice, folks, for this phase, which now will shift gears. Just an incredible moment as Tulsi Gabbard gets massive applause and a huge shout out from President Trump in a cabinet room. She's helping crush the deep state and expose the betrayal. Tremendous gratitude to our outgoing Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who's a terrific person, actually. A lot with some findings. Tulsi's worked tirelessly to restore the trust and focus on the intelligence within the intelligence community. And I do believe I have this clip for you guys. So let's take a listen.
Our tremendous gratitude to our outgoing Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who's a terrific person, actually. Came up with some findings that were pretty good. And Tulsi's worked tirelessly to restore trust and focus on the intelligence and with the intelligence community. They all respected her. They listened to her. She gave us leads that were pretty much, people thought they were dead and they weren't dead. They were right there, and she was able to expose a lot of things that we used at the FBI with Cash and with Todd and with JD and everybody else. It was amazing. She dramatically reformed the Office of Director of National Intelligence and cutting the staff by 40%, and she prevented countless terrorists and cartel members from entering the United States.
Now, title of the show, Patriots in Control, Trust the Plan. There's a lot of people like to shit on it, right? A lot of people like to talk smack. And you guys, any of you that have witnessed me in these town halls, aka X spaces, when somebody comes in, they say, oh, trust the plan, bro. You always know the first question out of my mouth is, what's the plan? Well, and if they can't answer it, you know the way I always counter them. Why are you shitting on something when you don't even know what it is? It could be a great plan. You don't know. It could be a terrible plan. You still don't know. So all you're doing is you're really just echoing someone else's comments. And so when people say, you know, because we're going to get into these posts, a little bit, we're getting closer, where does Patriots in Control come to in play, and where does Trust the Plan come into play in tonight's show? Well, remember these topics that we're going to be covering right now over the next few minutes. Tulsi Gabbard is dropping the hammer on these people. She's the one that came out and told us Obama, Russia hoax, treason against our country. Those are not light words, folks. Let's keep going into the next one. Mila Joy puts, holy crap, John Solomon says that the DOJ is building a massive case against the deep state. It's all coming. Have some faith. Remember these words, have some faith. Let's take a listen to this one. It's a little bit lengthy, but it's important.
And I think next week, over the next 10 days, the base who's been wondering, where's all that accountability? They're going to get some big surprises over the next week concerning where the conspiracy began a few weeks before Crossfire Hurricane was open and when it ended, all the way in 2024, when they were still trying to pursue Donald Trump to keep him from winning the presidency. There's a big case that's been built by the Justice Department and the FBI. It's been masked by a lot of this infighting and drama and soap opera stuff. But the truth of the matter is, MAGA base Americans are going to be happy when they see where this is all heading in the next few weeks. Kash Patel's going nowhere. I hope Dan Bongino isn't going anywhere, but I do think he's going to take some time over the weekend to think that through.
So hold it. We got 3 huge leads there.
Yep.
Number one, I want to go back. You're saying the 10-year conspiracy against President Trump to try to thwart his first term, steal the second term, and basically surround him in his second term or third victory.
Yep.
That has been an ongoing investigation that the FBI has already doing.
Yeah.
Does the
There's
Brennan
been a conspiracy
leak
case? There was hinted at. In fact, this was hinted at, Steve, in some of the media reporting, but I've got to confirm there's a conspiracy case that was opened that looks at this window as a very large window. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a special prosecutor named by Pam Bondi in the next week or two. And why does this become significant? Because you don't have to necessarily then bring the grand jury or the indictment in Washington, D.C., where the 90% Democrat jury pool probably won't convict even if they had a murder. It allows them to go to someplace like Florida. One act of the overt conspiracy could very well be, Steve, that they raided President Trump's Mar-a-Lago house with false pretenses. And then you can bring the grand jury in Florida. You can bring the indictment in Florida because an overt act of the conspiracy occurred there. Maybe several overt acts of the conspiracy occurred there. You don't have to have a all-blue jury in Washington, D.C. that has Trump derangement syndrome. So this has been going on behind the scenes. I've been working on this. I decided tonight to get some of this out there. I've been talking about in my show. This is a really big deal. Now, who becomes a special prosecutor? How far-ranging is it? That's to be determined by the scope memo that a Pam Bondi would write. But there is some work on a scope memo that's been done already. And there is an enormous opportunity for those of us who've been calling for accountability to see a path to it for the first time, a legitimate path, not smoke, not mirrors, a legitimate path to accountability.
Also, let me just ask you on this conspiracy, does that mean, because people talk about the statute of limits, and you can only get Brennan for perjury, lying to Congress, that you can't get him for everything involved in Crossfire Hurricane, everything involved with the nullification project, the Russian hoax. Are you saying by being a criminal conspiracy that's still ongoing that we can go back in time 10 years and still get Brennan and still get all these guys for more serious charges of conspiracy of a coup d'etat, sir?
That's how conspiracy cases can work. You can charge a series of events into a larger conspiracy and go back beyond the window of time that the normal statute of limitations for any single crime occurred. And keep in mind, there's also, prosecutors can make a very powerful argument that if you didn't know the crime had occurred because it had been hidden, the statute of limitations could actually reset for a period of time. But I think the most likely scenario is a large conspiracy case, and it starts in the middle of July 2016 when John Brennan walks into President Obama 2 weeks before, or a few days before Crossfire Hurricane's launch, and said, hey, we have this intercepted information that Hillary Clinton has authorized a program to make it look like Donald Trump's a Russian spy and Vladimir Putin is helping him. President Obama and Brennan knew before the FBI opened up on that information that this was a dirty trick by Hillary Clinton. That would be the first overt act, and then it would carry all the way through Ukraine impeachment. It could go into the FBI refusing to look at the Chinese interference in the 2020 election as one of the overt acts. They didn't want to help Donald Trump, so they ignored a potential counterintelligence threat. It allows for a very large series of events to be wrapped into a single conspiracy and all of them to be brought into the indictment.
Now, where have we heard that before? That's right, on this podcast. For those that don't know, go to last year. The post still exists. I was the first person to mention RICO, and I was the first person to mention the criminal enterprise and the ongoing Conspiracy Act doctrine. I was putting it out there. I was combating people with it. You guys can go see the post. You don't got to take my word for it. Date stamps are a thing. And now we hear these people talking about it. People like John Solomon, Steve Bannon, and others. And that's important. Why? Because if it's starting to get to the air of the mainstream media, that means we're going to start to see the surface level optics move in that direction. Again, let's not forget what we've already covered in the first, hour or so of this show. Antifa getting deemed as a domestic terrorist organization. Antifa people being pleading guilty in Texas. Tina Peters getting freed. There ain't no there's no silence order or I can't think of the word where you can't talk. It evades me right now. To where she can't talk about the elections or anything like that, because she's come out, she said some things already. So obviously there is a rhyme and a reason and timing. We've always said timing is everything. And we're seeing that come in. And I'm sticking by my guns on this because they know that the Save America Act's not going to pass, and they're setting up everything for that. Not an NDA. It's another thing. It's like a hush clause when you could make it as one of their parole terms in her situation, but it doesn't matter. You guys get the point that I'm trying to make. Let's keep going. Quantum Guard says, breaking, President Trump just posted bombshell footage confirming Minnesota Democrat AG Keith Ellison personally met with Somalis and fraudsters to accept campaign donations. So the Minnesota Democrat apparatus is directly implicated in this fraud and financially benefited. What's your response to this? I'd like to know down in the comments. Make this go viral on X, folks. Make it go viral everywhere. Let's go. Again, this is the president that posted this, which means he wanted us to see the gag order. Thank you for helping me out on that, folks. You guys are solid. Let's take a look. Remember, Trump posted this on Truth, so he wanted us to see this. And again, timing's everything.
Recently released audio recordings reveal conversations that happened between the Attorney General and individuals who were later implicated and in some cases convicted in the Feeding Our Future scandal. In those recordings, the Attorney General...
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
State your point of order.
Masons 124, paragraph 1, in debate, members must confine remarks to questions before the body and avoid personalities. The debate here is not any individual. It is the policy and the amendment.
Representative Niska.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Attorney General was asked in those recordings to use his authority to protect businesses under investigation for wrongdoing, and rather than distance himself or remain neutral to allow the legal process to unfold, he responded in those recordings, "Of course, I'm here to help."
Mr. Speaker, point of parliamentary inquiry.
State your point of parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, there was a point of order, and I didn't hear a ruling or any resolution of the point of order. Was there a resolution to it?
I'll remind the body that there was no ruling made by the Speaker as to the point of order that was just stated. Representative Niska.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Attorney General in those recordings even urged the individuals, let's go fight these people. He was offered campaign contributions during that meeting, contributions that he later accepted. The release of those audio recordings raises questions about what's going on in the Attorney General's office that go directly to the need to pass the legislation that we had previously debated, House File 20. Although he has insisted that nothing came of the meeting, his office blocks disclosure of closed investigative
point
data.
of order.
Masons 124.
The A11 will help ensure that what happens behind closed doors in the Attorney General's office sees the light of day. We can protect people's privacy while shining a light on what the Attorney General's office is doing, who is influencing that office, whether it's those under a criminal investigation, nonprofits, corporations, or billionaires with political agendas, because Minnesotans have a right to know when their Attorney General's office is working with them. Minnesotans have a right to know whether the Attorney General is telling the truth that nothing came of that meeting. That's why the A11 is so important.
It's going down, and you can hear the panic trying to cover for their people. They are going down, folks. You get that, right? Like, you get what's going on here? I hope so, because if you don't get it, then that's a failure on my side of not being clear about how this is all unfolding. Melissa Redpill puts out, bombshell alert, treason unraveling in real time. Well, isn't this the mother of all coincidences? What if the uranium Hillary Clinton sold to Russia while she was Secretary of State somehow ended up in Iran's nuclear stockpile right after Obama shipped them plane loads of cash? I like how Melissa Redpill's thinking here. The enriched uranium Iran just surrendered, if forensic tests match it to the uranium-1 batch, game over. Hillary, Obama, jail, treason, history books, no more hiding behind the controversy-free tales. If you guys were watching Q After Hours last night with me and Josh, we talked about this. And did it end up in Venezuela? or did it go to Russia? How did it find its way into Iran? Nonetheless, I think when Trump has been signaling over the last few weeks, Iran's going to give us the nuclear dust. Iran's going to give us the nuclear dust. I think this is exactly what he's talking about. I think we are going to test these materials, and we are absolutely going to find out that the material that Iran, quote unquote, had to create a nuclear weapon was a direct result of Hillary Clinton and the Obama administration. So let's see. Take a listen to this. I think I have this one for you guys. I do.
President Trump just got on Air Force One for a quick trip to Arizona for an event that we'll see later on today. He didn't take any questions, but he just told CBS News, he basically explained why it is that he is so confident a deal is about to be closed with the Iranians. He says that they have agreed to let United States, not troops, just somebody from the United States go in to Iran with some Iranian officials to collect leftover uranium, what he calls the nuclear dust, and then bring it back somewhere to the United States. That has been the key to all of this. The president earlier today disputed a report in Axios that the U.S. might unfreeze $20 billion in Iranian money in exchange for getting them to fork over all this uranium. He says not a dollar will be exchanged in any way. So we will definitely hear more about this once he gets to Arizona. But there's a lot happening, and it is possible that he doesn't want to get ahead of his team who are talking directly to Tehran.
Right on. And shout out to all you Badlanders coming over here. Looks like John raided the chat. So I hope you guys enjoyed Baseless Conspiracies tonight with my brother John and Zach. And if you're like, never heard of that, well then, folks, you got to get over to Badlands Media and watch all the different shows that are out there, including the ones that I come out on. But I know Baseless Conspiracies is a lot of fun. So for everybody that's joining from Badlands, welcome to the AlphaWarrior Show. Hope you guys have fun. It's a marathon. We're probably about halfway-ish. Y'all know me and that ish, right? Who knows how long it's going to go. Let's keep going. Toria Brooke puts out, FYI, the detention camps at the Guantanamo Bay are still open for military trials. Well, the military trials have still not concluded. That was from January 20, 2025 with Catherine Hedridge. Let's take a listen to this. Is this going to come into play here pretty soon?
I'm traveling this week to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. We've just arrived at the airport, and now we're taking the ferry over to Camp Justice. That's home to the military trials and the military courts. Of course, the big case is the 9/11 prosecution. There is so much secrecy around this entire base. There are a lot of things that we would like to show you, but they're off limits. They're restricted for national security reasons. And what's striking to me is that so many Americans don't even realize that the detention camps are still open. The military trials have still not concluded. And I just felt it was time to check it again for Americans to really see what was happening here.
Pretty interesting. And we know Cuba and our guys have been meeting over there at Guantanamo Bay. So there was an extra courthouse that was built over the last few years, some expansion projects that took place over the last few years. Definitely not the kind of growth that you would be doing for a facility if you were going to close it down or render it irrelevant or just as a historical place. Just saying. So we'll kind of shift gears now into a lot of what's going on with these politicians, these characters, people that are maybe not what we thought. So, for instance, Roseanne Barr puts out, "Do you hear us now?" And she tags John Thune. I'll explain why if you don't know. Ken Paxton, 64% to John Cornyn's 36%. That's when there was about 80% reporting in the election between Paxton and Cornyn. And it was an absolute slaughter. I mean, Paxton absolutely opened up a can of whoop ass against Cornyn, right? And then we get Senator John Cornyn that comes out and puts out this post. He says, "I have fought the good fight. I finished the race. I've kept the faith." 2 Timothy 4:7. And granted, 4:7 could just be a coincidence to that verse. Or maybe he's telling Trump, thank you. Thank you, Trump. You freed me. And what are we talking about? we know Thune and Cornyn are homies. They're road dogs. And people are like, well, why did, Trump wait till the last second to, endorse Paxton? He was already giving love to Cornyn, in the first race when it all went down. And this is the part that a lot of people don't understand. This is why people flip out over Lindsey Graham and all of this stuff. They just don't understand the geopolitical structure of how this all works in the Senate, right? And even beyond the Senate, but for this conversation, the Senate. Trump, listen how he went. We're going to get into it here in a few slides. So I don't want to put the numbers out, but you guys seen he's gone 100% on his endorsements. Well, part of the reason to that is, yes, there is a large MAGA movement. We're going to get into that. But a lot of it is because he also didn't create a resistance against it. What am I saying? If Trump would have came out earlier, let's just say 2, 3, 4 weeks earlier and put his endorsement behind Paxton, well, you would have saw Thune react the same way he did the day that Trump went and said he was going to endorse Paxton. He was pissed, right? You saw the video. I played it. A lot of podcasters played it. He was pissed. And of course, he's going to start weaponizing his allies within the Senate and other parts of the government. This could have affected the endorsement structure that Trump had coming into this. But by this time, now Trump has shown he's flexed, right? He goes over 100% on over 100 endorsements. And so now when Thune tries to do it, it's just not going to have that impact because momentum carries. That's very big in geopolitics and elections, especially midterms. But again, the other thing is, was Cornyn relieved? You can interpret this how you want. Maybe it's just a verse. Maybe he's just saying, hey, I ran the good race and I'm done. But I'm telling you, folks, when it says 247, I think he was telling Trump, thank you for taking me off the leash of my handlers. Let's keep going. Attorney General Paxton then comes up and says, and this was on March 5th, 2026, he says, the Save America Act is the most important bill the U.S. Senate could ever pass, and I'm committed to helping President Trump get it done. I would consider dropping out of this race if Senate leadership agrees to lift the filibuster and passes the Save America Act. Well, we know that didn't happen. Remember, this is March of this year. So you have Paxton that was saying, hey, I'll fall on the sword for everybody. Thune, you'll get your Cornyn, but you gotta go in and let's dump this filibuster and get the Save America Act passed. And they didn't do it. And so what did that do? That brought to the surface what their intentions were, what the intentions of Thune and his shadow party in the Senate. It exposed them. So let's keep going. John Cornyn is a coward who has refused to support abolishing the filibuster to pass this bill. Now fake news reporters and the establishment are trying to destroy me with misinformation. The truth is clear. No one has been more loyal to Donald Trump than me, fighting the stolen 2020 election, being in Mar-a-Lago when he announced his 2024 campaign, and standing with him in New York in the face of lawfare. For the good of our country and for the good of passing President Trump's agenda, I am determined to help him get this done. Ain't the kind of stuff you hear coming out of Thomas Massey's mouth, right? Let's keep going. Eric Dowdy puts, holy smokes, this is Donald Trump's 2026 endorsement scorecard, and the left can't stand it. Governors, Trump endorsed 8, he won 8. I had the video clip. Let's play the clip for you guys.
Races and Senate races. This is his scorecard, okay? He has endorsed 8 governors. Now, some of these races weren't real close, didn't have a lot of competition, but some of them did. I mean, we saw what happened in Louisiana, the primary of Bill Cassidy. We saw what happened a week ago tonight with Tom Massey in Kentucky. And now we're seeing it again tonight, okay, in Texas. Governor level, Trump endorsed 8. He won 8 times. U.S. House, 101 endorsed. He won 101 endorsed in the House, and he won 101. Let me put on the pencil right here and show you this. U.S. Senate, Sean, he has endorsed 8 candidates. And prior to tonight, he had won 8 times. And now you can take the endorsement from 8 to 9 endorsed, and from 8 to 9 winner. Ken Paxton was outspent 9-1. Got the endorsement from Trump, got the endorsement of Wesley Hunt, the congressman who got knocked out 2.5 months ago. And now we got the setup in Paxton and Tellerico. Many Republicans felt if John Cornyn could win tonight, that he could be an easy winner over Tellerico. We'll never know that now. And a lot of Republicans felt that they could save a lot of money too if Cornyn won. But that did not happen. Here's what will happen, Sean, in November. In Texas, probably the most expensive Senate race that we have seen ever. I mean, we were looking at some of the numbers.
Talrico's a freak. If you guys are not aware of who this guy is, if you watched my last show, Just Alpha last Monday or whatever day it was that we aired, I think it was Tuesday because of the holiday. You saw the video clip I played of the guy. Guy is just weird, and he don't stand a chance against all of us. We're going to expose that clown. But it will definitely be one of the most expensive Senate races. But you got to remember, deep state is losing its ability to get that money to create the opposition to what Trump and the good guys want to do. Let's keep going because we're not done with this part. The Misfit Patriot puts out, went 4 for 4 tonight, and I'm feeling magnificent about it. What's he talking about? Ken Paxton won, Mays Middleton won, Beau French won, Tom Smith won. Let's move on to the next one. The Skiff puts out, President Trump is 117 for 117 for endorsed candidates in 2026 primaries. 117. Let that sink in. Now, you see a bunch of clowns out there like MADA and all these other anti-Trump, anti-MAGA, we'll do it. And they're trying to bring up these special elections and all these other things. No, folks, we know what we're talking about. Don't let them try to mislead you. Don't let them try to destroy your morale because they're all full of shit. Let's keep going. Emily Saves America says 37-0. The scoreboard doesn't lie. Let's listen to what Emily said about this. This gets you fired up.
Texas sent a message to Washington, and it was also delivered by 30 points. Ken Paxton knocked out a 24-year incumbent backed by one endorsement that changed everything: Donald Trump's. John Cornyn had the title, the tenure, and the establishment behind him, but he couldn't deliver on the Save America Act, which everyone wants. He got booed off his own stage at the Texas Republican Convention, and when Trump drew the line, Cornyn found himself on the wrong side of it. So this isn't complicated. Trump just went 37-0 across Kentucky, Georgia, Alabama, and now Texas. The voters aren't confused. They know exactly what they want, actually. The old GOP playbook of play both sides, slow walk the agenda, hope nobody notices, that era is over, and Texas buried it. There's a reason the establishment keeps losing. They mistake a title for a mandate. Cornyn had seniority, Paxton had Trump. Paxton won, the coalition is clear, the agenda is clear, and if you're a Republican, as I've said, in 2026, thinking about hedging your bets, maybe look at the scoreboard. Okay, guys?
Bet against Trump and you lose. That's the way I would summarize her video take right there. You bet against Trump, you bet against MAGA, you're going to get your ass kicked. The scoreboard doesn't lie. I don't care what Tucker says. I don't care what Candace Owens says, Ian Carroll. I don't care what any of these internet clowns think. We got 1.5 billion impressions. Impressions don't reflect votes. Impressions reflect all these jihadis and Nigerians and everybody else around the world that hates America. But when it comes down to it, just like Emily just said, if you are going to take a position and that position is against Trump or MAGA, you are going to get your ass kicked. And so far, we are undefeated. That should fire you up, especially because now we get into Massey. Trump disappointment syndrome. Guy's taking his loss hard. He got his ass kicked on the 19th. So we're, what's Marine Corps math on that? 12 days or so? 12 days. Let it go. Let it go, Massey. Let it go. We got Brittany Ray says the Libertarian Party of Kentucky wants boomers to die. Let me zoom in on this. Let me see. Actually, I could probably open it up in a different tab. Make it a little easier to see. Right there, Libertarian Party of Kentucky. And what did they put? Our country will never be free until the boomers die off. That's Thomas Massey's folks, people. Thomas Massey, the one you guys say is America first. The one that people say, oh, he's the real face of MAGA. He's literally saying our country will never be free until the boomers die off. This is what his people, his crowd, his support base, the base that he'll never disavow or denounce. And this is why he got his ass whipped too. Let's keep going. Thomas Massey says, thank you, Joe Kent. There's an organized effort to rewrite the history of my race. But as long as people understand what really happened in the most expensive congressional primary ever, and younger voters stay energized, we will save our country. Let's take a listen to 2 minutes of bullshit from Joe Kent, but I'll explain to you why after.
I want to talk real quick about Massey's race and what it means and why I see some hope that came out of the unfortunate loss. Now, obviously, the bad news is Thomas Massey lost his primary, which means we're going to lose one of our best members of Congress. The seat basically was bought out from underneath him. The establishment, the special interest groups, spent about $40 million in dark money to prop up the other candidate and ultimately defeat Thomas Massey. Now, where's the good news? The good news is in the demographics of who voted for Massey and who voted for his opponent. People from, about age 55 and down voted for Thomas Massey. This means, two major things in my view. This means, number one, that Massey's voting record and his message of putting America first, having accountability, for our corrupt elites, not getting us into any more foreign entanglements, getting foreign influence out of our politics, that resonates with younger voters. It also means that the younger voters won't be swayed by, the number of television commercials they see on cable news, ads in the newspaper, radio commercials, mailers being sent to their house, this traditional campaign media blitz that the dark money is able to purchase. It's not effective on the younger voters because the younger voters are getting their information from social media, from podcasts, from a wide variety of media sources that are much more free-flowing and have a much more free marketplace of ideas. So that gives me a lot of hope. This means if we can get the younger voters to get out there and to vote, if we can mobilize these younger voters, then we can start getting more America First politicians across the finish line. And in 2028, if we can build a broad populist America First coalition of independents, not Republicans, not Democrats, but independent-minded Americans who want to put our nation first, who don't think we should be fighting these foreign wars, who don't think that a foreign government like Israel should be able to come in and essentially, buy a seat in Congress. We can build a coalition based on that. The numbers are there. We just have to organize it.
So, what does this guy not mention? He says the seat was bought by elite billionaires. But something Joe Kent never brings up, something Thomas Massey never brings up, something any of his simps never bring up is the fact that you always hear him talk about Marilyn Addison, right? She's buying AIPAC, right? AIPAC, they're buying our government. And listen, I have issue with AIPAC too. Don't get that twisted. But these people are hypocrites. Why? Because Jeff Yass donated over $1 million to Massey's campaign. And guess what? He's 10 times more wealthy than Marilyn Addison. He's an elite billionaire. But he's a libertarian billionaire. Elite's elite. Billionaire's billionaire. You don't see these guys talking about it. And you see them going after the younger voters. Why? This is why, and we're going to get into it here in a bit too. And but I want to touch on it now because it makes sense with this conversation. This is why they go after Erica Kirk so hard. This is why they took out Charlie Kirk. This is why Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Because it was the organization with the largest amount of influence in this demographic of kids. So when you say who had the most to benefit from Charlie Kirk's assassination, I will tell you. Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, those people, because that's the audience that they all went. This is why they were all vying for control. This is why you see the money and the propaganda behind it, because there's a fight for this demographic of people because they know this is the future of our country. However, don't panic because all these people are getting exposed right now. And the one thing that they don't talk about is young people don't like to be on the losing side. And I know this because I have my covert accounts where I'm in these Discord groups with these younger folks, and I'm in these private X groups with these younger folks. And one of the conversations that's being shared in all these groups, folks, is, they were telling us MAGA's going to lose and MAGA's winning. That's what this younger demographic is saying. This younger demographic is saying, hey, these people been bullshitting us. They told us that we had an easy win against MAGA. They told us MAGA was divided and that MAGA was dead. Joe Kent told us it was dead and divided. Candace Owens told us it was dead and divided. Thomas Massey told us that it was dead and divided. And they're batting 100. That's the conversation these younger folks are having in those groups because I'm in them covertly. I won't say much more than that because I want to stay in them. Which brings us into Thomas Massey, Mark Safe. This guy fucking hates our military, folks. What's he responding to? U.S. Southern Command put on May 27th at the direction of SOCOM, Commander General Francis L. Donovan, Joint Task Force Southern Spirit conducted a lethal kinetic strike on a vessel operated by designated terrorist organizations. Intelligence confirmed the vessel was transiting along known narco trafficking. This is our boys and girls putting their lives on the line to go fight the cartels who Trump had Bondi designate as foreign terrorist organizations. These guys, I'm telling you, cartels are much more dangerous and much more powerful than mafia families. I'll argue with anybody on that. And our boys and girls are going over there and they are laying waste to these people. Batting 1,000 is what I meant. Be happy. Sorry about that. You know what I meant. But anyways, they're going out there putting their lives on the line. And what does Massey want to do? He wants to make a fucking joke out of it. And he says, Mark Safe, our fishing vessel, survived the Southcom in the East Pacific yesterday because we saw everybody attacking our Navy, attacking our military, saying they're just destroying fishing boats. They're doing literally attacking our good guys and good gals. And then Massey and MTG and their disgusting cohorts, boyfriend and I think Massey's new wife, aka Handler, they want to go and shit on our military by making that a joke. This is why he got his ass kicked. This ain't because he didn't get his ass kicked because Israel spent money. He didn't get his ass kicked because Marilyn Addison donated money. He got his ass kicked because these people don't understand how America First and MAGA and real Americans actually feel, because all these dumbasses think that the internet is real. They think that all these sock accounts from all these other countries, which shout out to Elon, who gave us access to see where these accounts are from. That's been an awesome tool. Thank you. We've been able to see the bullshit scheme that they've been pushing. Now the key is, do you guys see it? Because this is the unraveling. This is the lifting of the veil of the propaganda that's been happening in social media and alt media. Let's keep going because I'll be fired up on this one for a while. Former Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene put Section 224 of the 2027 National Defense Authorization Act integrates the U.S. military with the Israeli military. This was complete capture to a foreign government. Looks like there hasn't been a single shot fired. And she's talking about Ben Freeman's post at a time when America's public is expressing unprecedented levels of distrust in the Israeli government. Congress just proposed tying the U.S. to Israeli military more than ever before. Here's the story. Congress quietly moves to integrate U.S. and Israeli militaries in the first step towards shifting aid during or further into the shadows. The House 2027 NDAA would all but fuse the two countries' armed forces together. This is the bullshit propaganda. And trust me, I even had, my best friend message me earlier today. He's like, hey, dude, make this make sense to me. So I know it's getting out there. Why? Because lying pieces of scum like MTG and Massey are out there putting out this stuff to make it seem like our militaries are integrating into each other. Like we're going to have IDF soldiers and our soldiers in the same barracks, in the same units. This is literally about software. This is about back-end software. And guess what? All they're doing is they're revealing publicly what the Mossad and IDF has been doing to our infrastructure, both on the government side, local side, state side, federal side, military side. They've been doing it covertly anyways. If we go all the way back to the last couple of years, not even last year, the last couple of years, you guys have heard me present this argument. You guys want us to completely sever ties with Israel. I'm with you. I don't think we should be committed to that level with any country that's out there. We'll align with that. But I always ask these people who are the quote extremists, right? The woke Reich, right? Those guys, the Candace Owens, them, the Jake Shields, the Dan Bazarians, these people, I tell them, so you want us to completely abandon and just cut off Israel, no more financing, no more protecting them. And you get everybody like, yeah, that's what we want. That's what we want. I say, okay, is one of the reasons because you're tired of them and the infiltration they have into our government? They say, yes. I said, is one of the reasons because you're tired of their technology that is backdoored into our infrastructure? They're like, yes. Like our banking? Yes. Like our government? Yes. Like our bridges and our railroads? Yes. Like our local law enforcement databases? Yes. Like our banking? Yes. Like our medical facilities? Yes. I said, so they have all this access and backdoors into the complete infrastructure of our country, and you want us to cut them off because of that? Yes. I said, great. Do you think that Israel could survive without America's military to back them up? Absolutely not. I said, okay, we're still agreeing on everything. So the second we cut them off financially, and the second that we cut them off with military defense, that means the surrounding areas, these extremist Islamic countries that are there, these groups like ISIS or Hezbollah or Hamas or the Houthis, that means they can now go in there and take over Israel. Well, that's on them. I said, okay, I'm with you on that. And when they take over that little country that starts with an I, who now has all that access into our backdoor infrastructure that you just told me Israel had access to? And that's when they just look at me like, let's not talk logically. What I'm trying to say, folks, is I agree with all that. But if we would have just cut off Israel, then any one of those terrorist organizations or the CCP, anybody else that would have went and took over Israel, they would be the one that now had complete and total control of the backdoors into our infrastructure. And so what I said years ago was one of the indicators that you were going to see that we were going to start to sever that relationship from Israel. And for those of you that followed me for years, you can vouch for me on saying this. I said one of the indicators of that is when you see us do one of a few things or all these things together. And one of those things was to start partnering with other countries as far as our infrastructure and software goes, by seeing us develop our own infrastructure, software, and technology, or if we started to see a regime change in Israel, or Israel start to adopt the idea that, hey, we're going to sell this or we're going to do it differently, you're going to come up with your own things. And right now, folks, all those things are happening. All those things are happening, which brings us closer to what we're going to get into. Patriots in control, trust the plan, saving Israel for last. I know those are the reasons a lot of you got there, but there's a reason I set up these shows the way I do. I want it to make sense when we get to that part. So for those of you that have been sticking along, thank you. We're over 3,000 people watching on Rumble. Completely appreciate that. If you guys can do me a solid, hit that thumb, help the algorithm, leave a comment. Let me know if there's some questions I haven't answered. Let me know if there's some things you want me to touch on, or if you disagree with me, let me know. I'm not going to take it personal as long as you're respectful about it. And we got almost 1,500 people watching over there on YouTube. So thank you to the YouTube family. Again, everybody that's, dropping Rumble rants. Hasn't been one in a while, but that's okay. and super chats, I am going to get to those at the end of the show. So let's keep going. Let's keep making all the confusion make sense. Casey Allen says, former counterterrorism director Joe Kent has confirmed that Donald Trump is entirely under the control of a small inner circle of elite handlers. Yes, folks, the guy wasn't done after you heard him. Now listen to this.
Politics largely because of President Trump. Took out one of the Trump impeachment voters in a congressional primary, and then was honored to serve in his administration. So the actions that he's taken in the last 18 months, I agree with you. They're heartbreaking. They're very frustrating. A lot of this is the control mechanisms, I think, of just having a really, really tight circle. In the lead up to the 12-day war in Midnight Hammer, we had a really robust debate because the president does actually have, if he would use it, although it's being thinned out every day, a really diverse cabinet. And so the deputies committees process we were doing, the National Security Council process that we were doing, that was really robust. After Operation Midnight Hammer, his circle really shrunk. You've got it right there on the screen. That's kind of who he has around him in general. And obviously, if he would just stick his head up and look at the results that he's getting, he would see that, what he was promised is not what has been delivered. And so why he's not being more critical and bringing in more advisors, I honestly, that part, I don't know. I was around the president enough. I mean, I wasn't primary cabinet, so I wasn't with him every 5 minutes, but, I had a good deal of exposure to him. He's not senile. He's still very much with it. He's still very sharp. That's why, again,
he's not senile. The level of disrespect that this guy has for our president. Now, listen, A lot of you guys get emotionally attached to these people. You're going to see. MAGA Michelle S. puts, Rand Paul has been very pro-Trump lately. He's afraid of getting the Massey treatment. And if you guys have been paying attention, Rand Paul is, let me adjust my tie because they just took out my homeboy. And I want to fare well now in this situation. It's too late, Rand Paul. Stephen Shung puts, this isn't true. What is he referring to? Well, let's click on this one to make this make sense. Josh Kroshar puts, Susie Wiles, Trump's chief of staff, recently advised Mr. Vance to take a break from social media, as have other officials in the West Wing, according to people familiar with those interactions, because the fighting was beneath his office. Don't you guys like, with those familiar to the matter, with those close to the story, with inside sources, right? And so Stephen Chung puts, this isn't true. We denied it to the New York Times, and they refused to run our, quote, complete fake news. This supposed conversation never happened. So again, the propaganda working its work. Rod D. Martin puts, AIPAC endorsed John Cornyn. Now, this is a great one to present against people that, again, they want to weaponize the Israeli narrative to meet their agenda and not to actually fight for the sovereignty of America. So pay very close attention to this particular segment of information, because this is really important. Is this show pre-recorded? C888 says, no, it's not pre-recorded. You should have been here at the beginning, CC888. You would have seen that this was a live show, but that's okay. Welcome to the party. Ron Martin puts, AIPAC endorsed John Cornyn. Rhino, Texas decisively loses his Senate seat to Ken Paxton, just as AIPAC endorsed Bill Cassidy. Lost 2 weeks ago. Cornyn outspent Paxton by almost 10-1. Don't tell me Thomas Massey lost because of money, or even the Jews. They all lost because they thought that they were smarter than Donald Trump, and they were mistaken. Think about that. AIPAC endorsed Cornyn, he lost. AIPAC endorsed Bill Cassidy, lost. It can make sense, but you won't hear any of these clowns talk about that because it destroys their narrative. Alan S333 says, this is totally pre-recorded with live intermissions with Alpha. LOL, LOL. You ain't right, Alan. You ain't right. But I did see you drop that Rumble rant, so you're free to talk some shit, Alan. I appreciate it. Thank you, brother. Let's keep going. Thomas Massey says, more 40 chess, trust the plan. And that's exactly what I wanted someone like Massey and his simps to say. And the reason being is, if you go back a couple weeks ago, one of the things that I told you guys, it was on one of these Just Alpha shows, is I say, look at the words that some of these people that are in Massey's camp, like Shannon Joy, Ryan Mata, a lot of these different, I see a super chat that came over there on YouTube from Cherry T. I'll be reading those at the end of the show. Thank you for that. Thank you for the support, folks. One of the things that I said back then was, I go, look at the verbiage they're using. Friends, Keck, the Frog. They were trying to pull in the Q community to support Massey because they know how powerful and how big the Q community is. And the second he loses, then he reviews how he actually feels about the Q community. And what does he say? More 40 chess, trust the plan, sarcasm. These people fucking hate you. And the second they don't see you as being useful to them, they spit on you. And CC888 says, first time here, so you guys all welcome CC to the chat. We have a great family here, CC. Just so you know, the Just Alpha shows on Monday nights run kind of long. It's a little bit of a marathon. So don't let me scare you away when you're just like, man, we're approaching that 3-hour mark. Mondays are kind of like a marathon, CC, but the rest of the week isn't so bad. And you'll make some great friends in the chat. It's a bunch of good people. So with that, let's get into the next segment. RNC Election Integrity puts out update. The RNC is now engaged in 150 election integrity lawsuits across 34 states. This year, we're on track to wage the most litigation in RNC history to secure the ballot box. Protect the vote. Now, again, we know our elections are riddled with fraud. We know our elections are compromised, but we see the good guys are fighting these fights because we don't give up on elections. We never not vote, and we never encourage people not to vote. What we tell people is we need to vote. We need to bring more people to vote. And we also need to make sure that these people are aware that our elections are being stolen from us, and we have to be actively a part of the process and the solution, which means we need to become part of the precinct teams. We need to be part of the supervisors and the auditors. Like, we need to have these active roles. So both those things can exist. It doesn't have to be one or the other, which then brings us into, let's look at some Q posts. This one's from June 1st, which, today's June 1st. Wow, that's just a coincidence. Post 4381, for those of you that want to read it yourself. This is from 2020. No civility unless D's win congressional control. Translation: MSDNC will incite and push division unless D control is established. But here's the part. Think pre-midterms. Think pre-2020 presidential election. Now reconcile. And why does this matter? Because pre-midterms is where we've been the last few months. Pre-midterms is where we've seen these deals. And yes, poll watchers, absolutely, Susie Q. That this is the event that we're in. And if we know that this is potentially Trump's last time at the helm or the throne, as the left would like to call him, right? Then it has to be done in this window. Like, I think we all operate under, if this thing isn't completely fixed and we're in the green by 2028, then what's the next few years looks like after that is going to be very hard times, going back to what the post we saw from Eagle Ed Martin earlier today. But I think midterms are going to show the direction that this country is going, and it's going to show that we actually did things that are tangible. It's no longer, well, it's just trust the plan. It's trust the plan because here's the evidence that the plan is in play and that it's actually working. It's Axios, so who knows? If you guys are talking about that, we're going to get into that a little bit later, so hang tight. We'll get there. This is post 1197. This is April 19th, 2018. Yes, midterms are safe. Watch California. Tomorrow's June 2nd, folks. If you're in California, you better go vote. You better go vote. Encourage Democrats to vote for Swalwell because he's still on the ballot. And, I'll be voting for Chad Bianco. I've been very public about that. But just make sure you guys get out and vote. But again, post 1197. Yes, midterms are safe. Watch California. You guys know me and Josh have put ourselves out there. We're very confident, especially in some of the information that's kind of been hinted towards us. I'll leave it at that this is going to truly be a power, not a red wave. We're talking legit tsunami. And that's very important. There's a reason that it's all going to unfold that way. But watch California. What are we all doing right now? We're watching California because of this governor race. I mean, you got some bad people on the Democratic side that are watching, but you even have a lot of conversation taking place with, Trump's endorsement of Hilton. And then a lot of us that want Bianco. And there's a lot of information surfacing about Hilton that I was listening to in some spaces yesterday that definitely caught my attention. And I wish I would have got some of that information, a few weeks ago, but at least it's stuff that I can start looking into moving forward. But like I said, hopefully, if I get my way, Chad Bianco is the one that's going to win, especially because I love what he's going to do with taking over $2 off the gas tax that we've been hit with in California. Yes, folks, over $2. I think it's like $2.28 or something like that. That's put on our gallon of gas as a tax. So yes, they've been lying to us. The other thing he's going to do is he's going to allow them to drill for oil here in California because we have a substantial amount of oil here in California. So again, we will see. Next one's 1357. This is May 13th, 2018. And I wanted to bring this one up because I wanted your guys' idea on this. It says, what must happen pre-1111, 11.1111, 11.11 provided as a strategic marker, post-midterms, red wave coming, strength, justice. But I definitely would love to get your guys' take. So whatever platform you're watching on, leave it in the comments, not the live chat, because the live chat will disappear in a couple hours. Well, it'll stay there for YouTube, but the other platforms, it'll disappear. But if you guys can go to the comments and let me know your thoughts on what 1111 means. Because if we know that, the boards came in 2017 And I was thinking, well, maybe it's telling us 11 Novembers later, but that would take us into, if I'm mathing math right, that would take us into November of 2027. So that doesn't hit midterms because midterms is November 26th. So I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on this. Now, later on tonight in the show, we're going to be showing one of these McDonald's commercials, and we know that we got the coding that's in there, and it pops up really, really quick, and I'll see if I can remember to pause it for you guys, where you see the 0 1s and the 1s and the 1s. So is it something like that? I don't know. And the one thing, you guys have heard me say this before, that I learned as a detective is, why try to solve it with one brain when I'm lucky enough to have thousands of brains to help me out? So give me your guys' thoughts on this one. Again, if you want to look up the post yourself, the website that I went to is qalerts.app, app, and it's post 1357. If you've never used it before, you'll go up to this search bar right here. You'll put in a hashtag or the pound symbol, and then you'll put in the post number. That way it'll populate it. And like I said, if you want to do the date, then you could just, it's just the 3 letters for the word. So like March, you do MAR, September, SEP, and then double digits when you're doing the deer. War Manual 11.11. I was thinking that too, Deb, fully, because of the 11.3. Well, it could be. Put in the comments, and then if you can find some particular bullet points from 11.11 in the War Manual, definitely would appreciate that, Deb. So let's keep going, because I got a few more of these posts right here. 2288. This is September 28th, 2018. Every vote counts. Red October, midterm elections, red wave or red tsunami. Fight, fight, fight. That one's pretty self-explanatory. And then, of course, this one right here, for those that want to look it up, 2582, December 11th. Not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to fire down to this part that I highlighted. Anons had proof long ago, but shining a light back then would have defeated the primary purposes of showing the public the real objective of the D's. Party of open borders, eliminating ICE, eliminating of security, defending illegals over Americans, midterms. These people are stupid. And of course, these are things that we've always kind of seen them in play, but they were exponentially at play in this administration. And so I think this is one of those things that just kind of reaffirms the concept of timing matters. And I see some people that are subscribing on Rumble. So thank you guys for that. Appreciate it. Get the little buzz on my watch every time. People are like, you crazy. Listen, when one of you guys decides to subscribe and follow me on Rumble, I want to know. And so my little watch goes off and it tells me, and I'm just right there, and I get to see your handle. I'm like, hey, so-and-so's part of the family. And there's days where it's like, a little while passes, it doesn't buzz, and I'm just like, all right, I gotta do better work. And then there's days where it's like, bzz, 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 and I'm like, yeah, we rocking and rolling, fam. So just sharing that with you guys, right? So shifting gears now. Owen Schroyer puts out, right? And shout out, Owen had me on his show when he was on InfoWars, but doesn't mean I'm gonna hold back when we're in the information war and we're fighting for this country. So Owen Schroyer puts out on May 27th, he says, I'd love to see any evidence of this claim. What is he talking about? As if the local protests aren't happening across this country. Yes, Americans love their resources being drained to build an AI surveillance state, and China is the bad guy trying to stop it, huh? These guys always defend the CCP so hard. Why? Here's a little test. I actually gave this advice to one of my other Patriots on X today or yesterday. And I was listening. You guys know me. I listen covertly. And I was listening to one of these particular spaces. Shout out the Meerkat. This just became a monthly supporter over there on Rumble. Appreciate you. And I said, these people that will go hard against Israel, and they'll go hard against Trump, and they'll go hard against MAGA. I said, when you come across these people, ask them or make a statement, something that implies the deep state of the CCP, the surveillance state of China, just something that paints a bad light of China. And I said, I promise you, 99 out of 100 times, they're going to defend China. And I have not been wrong about this. So again, my question is why? And so I posted, they always jump to defend China. Remember who told you that they would? You're welcome, because I said this again a long time ago. I know people get irritated with that, but there's a reason I do it. Listen, folks, and again, do I believe there's a sovereign alliance? I do. I believe Xi is fighting the deep state within China, and I think that deep state apparatus is the CCP. But let's keep pushing on because trying to get us done here in 90 minutes or so. Not too many videos left, so actually we will go through this pretty quick, although there's one video that's kind of long. Cinema Shogun says, hey, everyone, I thought you might like to know that John Mappin, you guys remember this, right? The man who introduced Candace Owens to her husband has been found, you're not going to believe this shit, in the Epstein files and is allegedly linked to multiple child trafficking rings in the UK, according to audio recordings found in the Epstein files. Yes, I have it for you. This is not speculation, people. This is not me trying to connect the dots that aren't there. This isn't me trying to dunk on Candace Owens. I'm not asking for money before I drop the big reveal like Candace does. I'm not stretching this out across 100 episodes of my podcast to ensure maximum engagement and profit. I'm just here to give you the cold, hard facts. And I actually brought the receipts. Keep in mind, this information is not from anonymous sources. This information is not from an email that a schizophrenic person sent to me online. This is directly from the Epstein files. Check it out in the comments below. Now, before I play this audio for you guys, I'm going to show you that John Mappin actually responded to him. And so I'm going to show you his response first. John Mappin says, for the record, the allegations contained or implied in this recording are completely false. I was never involved in any such matters, and this is the first time I've ever heard of these allegations. At the time in question, I was 24 years old and living in London. For the avoidance of doubt, I've never met Jeffrey Epstein, never communicated with him, and never had any contact whatsoever with him. The timing of the circulation of this recording is, however, interesting. John Mappin. So I want to pause here for a second before I play this recording for you folks. Candace Owens, Thomas Massey, Rokana, all the Massey simps, all the anti-Trump, the Ryan Mattas, the Ian Carrolls, all these clowns have been screaming the Epstein files, the Epstein files, the Epstein files. This is one of the guys that is allegedly pushing the money behind a lot of these people, right? Don't know if it's true, but this is the scuttlebutt. Finds out there's a recording of him in it, and all of a sudden, hey, this is bullshit. Well, hold on. You guys are the ones that said that the Epstein files are the receipts. The Epstein files are where all the bad guys are. But then one of your guys gets caught. And then all of a sudden, well, no, this is bullshit. This allegation is not true. I never heard of it. And guess what? John Mappin may be telling the truth. But then doesn't that apply to anybody that gets accused in the Epstein files? Or does it only apply to their people in the Epstein files? And now with that, I will play this 90-second clip for you guys. Enjoy.
My name's I'm calling from London, UK, and I've been put through to your number, sir, by the switchboard and another person. Is it possible, if you can, to give me a call back? It's about an entry in Jeffrey Epstein's contact book, the 97-page one, a chap called John Mappin. I deal with whistleblowers and charities over here for a number of years regarding child sexual abuse. I've been following this very closely, have been heavily involved. I'm not a police officer. Basically, this man has been identified back in 1989 to a police operation here in the Met called Operation Orchid. If it is the same John Mappin, if you want to give me a ring back, my UK mobile number is the Met didn't act on it, like they didn't act on a lot of things regarding child sexual abuse. It specifically involves a ring called the baby sitting ring. I'll let you draw your own conclusions to that. It's pretty horrific. The detail I've been given by the retired charity worker who had meetings at New Scotland Yard, unreceptive meetings to the details they were giving. Thanks very much. It's UK time. I'm in mid-afternoon, and it is the 31st of August. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
I mean, you guys heard the audio. So what level of scrutiny do we allow here? Let me tell you. And this will benefit John Mappin, and this will benefit Candace Owens and Owen Schroyers and all these people that have no fucking clue how evidence actually works, because they were never part of that industry. They were never in the judicial process. They were never part of law enforcement. None of these people have ever ran actual legitimate investigations and signed actual legal documents. So they're fucking clueless. If you guys remember over the last year, almost year and a half, because it's almost since this administration started, that they started to attack Pam Bondi. They started to attack Kash Patel and Bongino and Trump and this entire administration over the Epstein files. One, me and Josh had told everybody that Trump's going to get them screaming for the Epstein files before the Epstein even surfaced as a conversation. That was another thing we were right about. But the other thing that I told everybody was when they came out and said, they're hiding them. And when they started to do the declassifications, you had people like Massey, well, why is this redacted? And how come we haven't got this 100,000 set of pages? And they always said two things. And listen, withholding information when they know it, that's lying too. They said there's only two reasons that they can't release the information, because there's the name of a victim or a minor. And then those are true statements. However, they left out a third component. This is one that I've been telling you guys. Shout out to Tamara S., who became a monthly supporter over on Rumble. Appreciate you. Thank you for that. This other major third fact that they never talked about, and I know why they never talked about it, because it would have destroyed their agenda. And this is why some of you who've been following me for quite some time know exactly what I'm going to say right now, what that third reason was. The other reason you didn't have to release information on the Epstein files was because it was part of an active investigation. But you never heard Massey or any of these people that talked Epstein, Ro Khanna, any of them ever mention that third fact. And ask yourselves, folks, why? If it's about transparency and honesty, why not mention that fact? Why? Because then the audience would probably take pause and be like, okay, maybe those other 100,000 pages haven't been released yet because there's investigations going on, which I told you guys, and others shared that with you guys. And then you had these people come out and said, there's no investigation. And then you had Pam Bondi herself. And you've had Blanche come out and make the statement that if there are people with statements who are victims or witnesses, come forward and we'll include you in the investigations. But I thought there weren't any investigations. And I'm not going to rehash that entire conversation because I've already done it before. But you get what I'm saying is this is the stuff that they've been concealing. So for John Mappin, maybe this was a guy that heard some information and called in like a lot of these other Epstein files, except instead of it being on some FBI or DOJ letterhead, this was a voicemail because that was the structure of the way that contact was made. Maybe. Or maybe Mappin needs to start telling us what this babysitting ring truly is about. We will see. Time will tell. Let's keep moving on to the next one. The Misfit Patriot puts out the reason they're going at Erica so hard is because she's in charge of the largest MAGA get out the vote organization in the country. I completely agree with Misfit on this one. It's not about her. It's about Trump. They killed Charlie Kirk because he was bringing more young people to support MAGA movement Trump started and MAGA agenda Trump needs to finish. They're terrified Erica will continue his mission and usher in the next generation of young patriotic American conservatives with Judeo-Christian values. I would just take out the word Judeo and put Christian values that made this nation the greatest country in the world. If they're attacking her so hard, I'd be more worried. She obviously is doing something right. Keep going, Erica Kirk. We love you and know that you're making Charlie proud. And again, this is reference Project Constitution putting, as I've said before, if Erica Kirk steps down as CEO of TPUSA, I will stop covering her. Kind of sounds like harassment. The reason I'm harassing her is because of this. Do this and I'll stop harassing you. I can't wait to see these people get sued. And some of them already been served. Laura Loomer, some of you guys like her, some of you don't. There's things that you guys know that I've opposed her on. And then there's some stuff that she nails. And so here she puts, scoop confirm. Candace Owens lied about her family vacation to Russia, as she is actually traveling to Russia to speak at a Russian state-sponsored conference attended by Putin and Alex Dugin. In 2022, the U.S. Treasury sanctioned Dugin's news website, Geopolitical, as a key pillar of Russia's global disinformation and information warfare infrastructure. Yesterday, I reported that the fact that Candace Owens is likely lying about the purpose of her trip to Russia as the State Department has listed Russia as a travel for advisory level country, which means no American should be traveling there at the current moment. I also exclusively reported how a group of woke right influencers will be in Russia next week meeting with Duma members at AG Dugin, while Candace is scheduled to be in Russia at the same time. Coincidences. I said the only way she would be able to guarantee her safety in a level 4 travel advisory country where explosions went off last week would be if she was invited to Russia by the government of Russia. I also suspected that she will be meeting with Dugin while she's there, and now it's been confirmed by Ryan Morrow and Real Candace Owens is in fact speaking at an event with Putin and Dugin, among other Russian officials and woke right influencers. A source tells me Candace and her husband allegedly previously met with Dugin in Italy. Candace has pretended to not know Dugin. Some of the people attending the conference with Candace have been sanctioned by the U.S. government. Candace should be forced to register with FARA, and her bank accounts and her husband's George Farmer's bank account should be flagged by FinCEN while she's in Russia. Did Russia pay for your trip, Candace? Why did you lie and say this is a family vacation and pretend like you had no plans of meeting with Dugin when I called you out? It's obviously you aren't being honest about your real relationship with Russia. And then she says, AG Todd Blanche should investigate. Now it makes sense why RT, Russian state media, which is directed out of the Kremlin, has been crippling nearly every single episode of Candace Owens' show and using their X account to promote her nonstop, in addition to Tucker Carlson. Is Russia using Candace Owens to run Russian disinformation ops to divide the right wing in the U.S.? I'm just asking questions. Now, remember, folks, there is a sovereign alliance. Is Putin part of that sovereign alliance? I believe so. Just like Xi is part of that sovereign alliance. In addition to that, these countries still have deep states. And are these leaders of these countries like Putin, Trump, Xi, are they giving each other intel on these different influencers, actors, assets, intelligence officers, FBI people, college professors? Because we're catching all these people and we're catching them pretty quick. And so are these people going out there to meet with Dugin thinking that they have the blessing of the deep state and don't realize that they're actually being monitored and caught? I think it's the latter. We will see. Owen Schroyer puts, for those keeping score, since I keep hearing about the big, beautiful bill, since the bill passed, the Obama administration deported more illegals than the Trump administration has, and we currently have more debt and higher interest. Now, how many of you have heard people say stupid shit like Owen Schroyer just said and lie? And I know Owen knows the truth on this, so he's choosing to lie to you guys. And I hope you weigh that judgment against his credibility. Why do I know he's lying? Because this is information that hit the podcasting and influencer network a very long time ago. This is actually an old argument. People say that the Obama administration had more deportations than Trump. And what I've shared numerous times is Obama counted turnaways as deportation. So people that never even got into the interior of this country, that just got turned away, boom, checked them off to deportation. So they were falsifying Obama's deportation numbers. Two, what Owen Schroyer and other clowns never talk about is self-deportations. How Trump incentivized these people to deport themselves, which goes into a conversation that I've had at length. I'm not going to say it again on here. But when you include self-deportations along with deportations, Trump is at a record pace of deportations. And these guys know about it, but they choose to lie to you because they think that you're too stupid to find the truth. And that when you do find the truth, they know that, well, they're going to keep listening to me anyways. And so they continue to abuse and manipulate their listeners. Let's keep pushing on. Sneeko. Zoran Mondami is doing a fantastic job. This is these characters, folks. These are the people that support Massey. These are the people that Massey and all them repost. These are the people in line with Dan Bilzerian and Candace and Jake Show. These are their crowd, and literally saying that Mondani is doing good. That one's kind of self-explanatory. And then the Patriot blonde, talk about someone who infiltrated the movement, right? What a joke this chick is. Peter Thiel is pushing to reinstate the draft just as Trump is fusing our military with the IDF. So 2 lies in that one. Do you honestly think that this is a coincidence? Folks, let me explain something to you. And anytime you hear one of these dumbasses bring this up about the draft, I want you to fire back in their face with this. The draft is something that you institute because you can't get people to go join the military to go fight or serve, period. So you institute the draft. We saw this in Vietnam. Military recruitment in this administration is at its highest. They literally met their recruitment numbers 4 months ahead of the goals they set for themselves. So why would they be talking draft when they don't have to? They have record-setting enlistment while Trump is doing combat operations. That's how retarded these people are. But again, you guys are smart, but they really believe, and their audience is kind of to blame for this, that their audience is stupid. And their audience will go and regurgitate this stuff. I'm glad you guys don't. Now let's shift gears into the next theme. The enormity of what is coming will shock the world. I'm going to play this video clip again. Typically, I don't really play the teaser videos again. This is the one that we started off early in the show as a teaser, but it does have a lot to do with the conversation we're going to have right now. And so with that, and it was a cool video anyway, so you guys are going to like it. I'm going to play this, and we're going to get into the next section as we're going to start getting into Patriots in control, trust plan, and saving Israel for last, the part y'all been waiting for.
What if there was a certain group that tried to end this slavery? Well, that is why I'm here, to tell and educate you about Q. The greatest military operation the world has ever seen.
People who believe in the QAnon conspiracy theory.
It's like an alternative reality plan.
This summer, QAnon shaman pushing QAnon theories. The QAnon is extremely dangerous to our democracy. Conspiracy theories are continuing.
Satan worshippers and pedophiles who eat babies.
And you are the savior of them.
I just don't know about QAnon.
Follow the vision of President John F. Kennedy, who predicted the rise of special operations nearly 60 years ago.
In my former life, I was an insider as much as anybody else. And I knew to be an insider, it's not bad. Now I'm being punished for leaving the special club and revealing to you the terrible things that are going on having to do with our country.
WikiLeaks releasing the newest batch of what are believed to be campaign chairman John Podesta.
Belongs to Clinton campaign chair John Podesta. The drip-fed out on WikiLeaks.
Your steadfast commitment to end human trafficking. And your
Pizzagate. It became a major
today because I was watching between Pizzagate and
maybe part of a child sex trafficking ring.
Time to drain the swamp, which, by the way, we are keeping open, and to keep open the detention facilities in Guantanamo Bay. And we're going to load it up with some bad dudes, believe me. We're going to load it up. I will totally obliterate the deep state. Because I used to be part of the club, I'm the only one that can fix it. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement, and we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again.
Damn, these Anons build some great videos. This stuff just gets me in the feels, like just motivates the shit out of me. So all you Anons out there, man, hat tip to all you guys, man. You guys do such great work. Salito puts, the enormity of what is coming will shock the world. And this is the phase that we're coming into, folks. Eagle Ed Martin, remember earlier he said, our time is coming hard. And look at what he puts here. GM, good morning. And he reposts Monica Crowley's good morning with President Trump pointing at you. Activated. You. Not me. Not him. Not Ed Martin. You. Now, I don't want to sound cliche or, overly dramatic. But for you that's watching this podcast right now, I want you to take a moment. Do you see yourself as an audience member to the AlphaWarrior Show? Or do you see yourself as a fighter, as a warrior? Not someone who's here to watch my content, but somebody who's here to develop information, intelligence, to do an assessment of your own, to figure out what's going on. In other words, you're my foxhole buddy. You're one of my operators. We're combat partners. Because here's the thing, and I don't care how young you are or how old you are, you made it this far. You're alive in a time in our country when we're fighting the most powerful enemy that's ever existed. You're alive. Our president is pointing at you right now. You're alive. You are breathing. You are thinking. You might be tired. You might be dealing with an illness. You might be dealing with a financial crisis. You may be dealing with a crisis in your marriage, a crisis with your kids. There might be a whole lot going on in your life, but we are in the fight for humanity right now, and you're alive. I hope you don't see yourself as an audience member. I hope you don't see yourself as a follower. I hope you see yourself as a fighter, as a warrior. And if you do see yourself that way, my question to you is, they're trying to kill this country. They're trying to enslave your kids and your grandkids. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? When this podcast is over, what are you going to do about it? Tomorrow, when you wake up and you get out of bed, what are you going to do about it? And if you were in California, tomorrow you better damn be voting if you haven't done so already. And all of you that are vets, I don't care if you're Vietnam era, I don't care if you just enlisted. We swore an oath, and that's an oath that lasts a lifetime. What are you going to do about it? You can do something. And if all you're doing is watching the podcast, you're not helping. If all you do is turn on Rumble, turn on YouTube, turn on X, you're not helping. You're letting somebody else carry the yoke of your fight. Yeah, I love movies. I'm a movie guy. You remember Braveheart, Mel Gibson? When he tells them, fight with me. And he says, many years from now, when you're laying in your bed and you're dying and you're taking your last breath, wouldn't you trade all those years from now to then for the opportunity to say right now you fought? Yeah, you may live, but is that the life you want to live? Knowing that you were on your knees? We're going to win, folks. We are going to win. How do you want your kids and your grandkids and your great-grandkids, how do you want them to share the stories about you? Because you're the one that's alive during the time of the battle. How do you want them to share the stories about you? Not me, not Trump, not Secretary of War Hegseth, not Rubio. What are the stories in your lineage going to report back to you? And if you're like, well, I haven't done nothing yet. Okay, good. You recognize it. Now get in the fight. Make a decision to do something tomorrow. Maybe you join the precinct chairs. Maybe you go and you start making phone calls. Maybe you go and you find a Badlands outlet throughout the country to join because you don't have ideas and you need some directions. You reach out to me. I'll connect you with the precinct committee people. But you got to do something. And that's one of the main points I'm going to make as we go through this portion of the show. Eric Doherty puts update. President Trump drops epic rendition of the Golden Dome for the White House. Make it happen. Pretty damn cool. President Trump puts on Truth Social the reflecting pool built between the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument, Lincoln and Washington, which was destroyed Barack Hussein Obama and Sleepy Joe Biden after spending hundreds of millions of dollars trying to fix it. It only got worse. Is moving along nicely, and we should easily make the July 4th date. It will be spectacular and good without leaks for 100 years, a fraction of the cost. President Donald Trump. That's cool, but what's more important is the picture. Step 1, sandblasting. Step 2, priming. Step 3, applying the sealant. But he says, we are here. You think he's really telling you about where we're at in the process of the reflecting pool? Or is he telling you, hey, folks, you want signals and you want some codes to know where we're at? I'm telling you, sandblasting, first administration, priming, Biden's administration, and now we are here. That's this first half of Trump's administration before we go into midterms. Step 3, applying the sealant. This is post midterms. This right here is the first half of 2.0 Trump. This is what he's telling you. And this is where the resistance and the pushback and all the stuff is happening. Listen to Trump because he's telling you folks. And then, of course, you've seen everybody talking about this. So I won't go too far into it because I don't need to regurgitate it. But again, Donald Trump puts out, you're getting discombobulated. And he's talking to everybody here, the deep state, us, everyone. And there's a reason for this. And that's because predictive analytics, you have the bad guys, the same way all of us are using AI, the same way our military and our intelligence community, again, they're using they're definitely using the DOD version of, AI. But we're still using AI at our commercial level. And again, the bad guys, the deep state, the cabal, they're also using AI. And within this AI is a very, very accurate predictive model. And so when you see Trump out there one day saying the war's over, the next day saying the war's still going, say, oh, we're doing this, we're not doing this, that those conflicting messages. One, yes, it discombobulates. It does expose people that don't know how to do analysis and assessment outside of what Trump's telling them. But it's also making it hard for the predictive analytics to figure out what the hell he's doing, because they have to wait till he makes an actual move, which by then, now they're analyzing hindsight, which means that they missed the opportunity to rug pull, divert. And that's why you've seen most of the attention being pushed at subverting the support for President Trump, because their predictive analytics can't get ahead of what he's going to do. And so they try to attack the support because they can't stop him from doing what he's doing, because the dude's an absolute genius on the way he's been doing this discombobulation. It's absolutely genius. And then we get into the Department of War CTO. This one is from May 26, 6:49 my time, so 9:49 a.m. East Coast time. GM, remember? Just like Eagle Ed Martin did a little while ago. Good morning. Patriots are in control, locked in. So if we go to post 9:49, and it reads, let me zoom in on this, make it a little easier for you guys. March 15th, 2018. And what does it say? Trust the plan, full control. I got goosebumps. I'm seriously, I mean, you guys can't see it on this camera. But the Department of War puts, good morning, Patriots are in control. They do it at 9:49 a.m. because timestamps matter. And when we go to the correlated timestamp of 9:49, it literally says full control and trust the plan. Full control and trust the plan. Patriots are in control, and it's telling you full control 9:49. Some of you still want to call it a coincidence. Go ahead. But we're not done. When we type in Patriots are in control, it brings us to post 2254. We're at the precipice. There's a reason I was using that word several times tonight. Swamp is fighting back. Remain calm. We are here for a reason. Why does that matter? Let's go back. We are here. Y'all thought Trump was just posting we are here for that, right? We are here. Correlation. We are here for a reason. Patriots are in control. Yeah. I didn't post that because nobody caught it yet, and I wanted to save this for the podcast. But you heard it here first. People caught most of it, but they never caught the we are here one. Let's keep going because this is money. Ripcord. Love the work Ripcord does. Love the work so many human nons do, man. Me and Josh need to incorporate something on either DEFCON or Q After Hours where we start highlighting some of you guys. You guys are doing great work. I need to talk to Josh. We need to figure out something cool to do for you guys. Ripcord puts, they are talking directly to us, Anons. Notice any similarities? We're talking to you. Trust the plan. Wait, hold on, Alpha. It said Patriots are in control. This one said Patriots are in control. Remember I said May 26th, 9:49 a.m.? So what the heck is Ripcord talking about? This one says trust the plan. Well, this one's also from a different day. This one's from today. What does this say? Trust the plan. So just in case people wanted to write it off to a coincidence, in case I'm losing you, I'm going to go through this slow real quick. May 26th, Patriots are in control, 9:49 Eastern. We go to post 9:49, full control, trust the plan. We go to the one Ripcord has, which is from today, trust the plan, same picture. You still think it's a coincidence? This has been one of the most powerful ones I have seen. Because the Department of War. Still curious to who is part of the Q operation? I mean, hot damn. And I need one of you guys. Let me see something. I just saw something. Let me check something real quick. They're just colored. I was wondering if there were some letters here in the color of his eyes. That green turquoise color, but it looks like it's just colored. But, yeah. Again, that one is just we could end the show right now. That was so damn powerful, but we still got stuff to cover. So again, this one, Department of War, and this one's from today. So you got both. Patriots control and trust the plan. Same damn image. When we go to 1251, what does it say? Listen carefully. Trust the plan. And yes, we're going to go into this video right here. Actually, before going to that one, oops, getting ahead of myself. This one comes 1251. Listen carefully. Trust the plan. And this is the video. This video you guys have seen multiple times. This is the one that I told you is a little bit longer because I believe it's about 5 minutes, I think. Hold on, I lost my place getting all excited, so I'm trying to get me squared away. Here we go. Yeah, it's 5 minutes. You guys have seen it before, but guess what? If the Department of War is pointing at this and they want us to see it, we're going to see it because there's a reason, and I ain't going to argue with those reasons. So I'll see you guys in about 5 minutes. Enjoy. This one's good.
Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. The Washington establishment and the financial and media corporations that fund it exists for only one reason: to protect and enrich itself. The establishment has trillions of dollars at stake in this election. For those who control the levers of power in Washington and for the global special interest, they partner with these people that don't have your good in mind. Our campaign represents a true existential threat like they haven't seen before. This is not simply another 4-year election. This is a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we, the people, reclaim control over our government. The political establishment that is trying to stop us is the same group responsible for our disastrous trade deals, massive illegal immigration, and economic and foreign policies that have bled our country dry. The political establishment has brought about the destruction of our factories and our jobs as they flee to Mexico, China, and other countries all around the world. It's a global power structure that is responsible for the economic decisions that have robbed our working class, stripped our country of its wealth, and put that money into the pockets of a handful of large corporations and political entities. This is a struggle for the survival of our nation, and this will be our last chance to save it. This election will determine whether we're a free nation or whether we have only the illusion of democracy, but are in fact controlled by a small handful of global special interests rigging the system, and our system is rigged. This is reality. You know it, they know it, I know it, and pretty much the whole world knows it. The Clinton machine is at the center of this power structure. We've seen this firsthand in the WikiLeaks documents, in which Hillary Clinton meets in secret with international banks to plot the destruction of U.S. sovereignty in order to enrich these global financial powers, her special interest friends, and her donors. Honestly, she should be locked up. The most powerful weapon deployed by the Clintons is the corporate media, the press. Let's be clear on one thing. The corporate media in our country is no longer involved in journalism. They're a political special interest, no different than any lobbyist or other financial entity with a total political agenda, and the agenda is not for you, it's for themselves. Anyone who challenges their control is deemed a sexist, a racist, a xenophobe. They will lie, and then again, they will do worse than that. They will do whatever is necessary. The Clintons are criminals, remember that. This is well documented, and the establishment that protects them has engaged in a massive cover-up of widespread criminal activity at the State Department and the Clinton Foundation in order to keep the Clintons in power. They knew they would throw every lie they could at me and my family and my loved ones. They knew they would stop at nothing to try to stop me. Nevertheless, I take all of these slings and arrows gladly for you. I take them for our movement so that we can have our country back. I knew this day would arrive. It's only a question of when. And I knew the American people would rise above it and vote for the future they deserve. The only thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you. The only force strong enough to save our country is us. The only people brave enough to vote out this corrupt establishment is you, the American people. Our great civilization has come upon a moment of reckoning. I didn't need to do this, folks, believe me. I built a great company, and I had a wonderful life. I could have enjoyed the fruits and benefit of years of successful business deals and businesses for myself and my family, instead of going through this absolute horror show of lies, deceptions, malicious attacks. Who would have thought? I'm doing it because this country has given me so much, and I feel so strongly that it's my turn to give back to the country that I love. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement, and we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again.
Man, that one's going to go down in the history books. And again, they wanted us to see that Anita happens. Patriots are in control. We are the Patriots, Trump and us. I like that. I like that a lot, Anita. Let's keep going. It's not too long we'll be done with all this, folks. I wanted to bring it back to this one just real quick. Again, you're being discombobulated. This would have been at 550. And if you guys just wanted to check out to see if there's any correlation to these, maybe let me shrink these a little bit because now it's a little too big. 550 takes us to January 18th. And again, you see the photo from Switzerland, Davos, and you see two horrible men right there with McCain and Soros. But also, if you go to military time 1750, it takes you to July 29th. And it says they do not want you asking questions. They do not want you thinking for yourself. They do not want you united. They want you to live in fear, divided. They want you asleep. They want you blind. The message must bypass the mainstream media. It is the only way. People united hold the power. Think election 2016. Power shall be returned to the people, which absolutely resonates with the video that we just saw. And again, this is coming from the post where Trump is saying you're getting discombobulated. And a lot of us like to take it as in what Trump is doing, but Trump's discombobulation is against the deep state. It's against exposing the grifters. It's against exposing the people that have infiltrated into MAGA. But he's talking about our discombobulation is the propaganda that we've literally been subjected to since we left the womb as infants. That's the discombobulation. He is weaponizing it now against the deep state that has done it to us our entire lives, folks. Let's keep going. Trump puts out Save America Act. Now I caught something here and I was like, maybe I'm reaching. I was like, I'll poll the audience and see what you guys think. But the Save America Act, he did this yesterday. Voter ID, proof of citizenship, mail-in ballots. And, you know, when we're in the military, you know, we're all about acronyms. And he listed it as 1, 2, 3. But the first letter in each one is also VPN. So I was like, is there something there? Or, you know, or am I letting fatigue and tired eyes get to me? But there you see it. Save America Act, voter ID, proof of citizenship, no mail-in ballots, but VPN. And so I don't know. Give me your guys' take on that one. I am definitely curious. And then we get this one. The drone port at the White House ballroom will be perhaps the most sophisticated anywhere in the world. It will safeguard our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., long into the future. Judge Richard Leone should stop playing games with America's security. If anything happens, he will be held responsible for the death and destruction caused to our country. He has already created problems by allowing top secret information to be released and exposed based on ridiculous lawsuits started by a highly litigious woman, serial plaintiff, whose strolling, in her opinion, will be disturbed by the new desperately needed structure. In any event, a woman who has absolutely no standing. With the advent of highly sophisticated and powerful modern-day weaponry, we can no longer defend Washington, D.C. with rifles and pistols alone. This ridiculous lawsuit must be dismissed immediately. President Donald J. Trump. It almost sounds like Trump thinks that there's going to be a siege on the White House. Now, I don't want to push fear porn, folks. And I talk about false flags, but I don't push them too hard because, again, it's going to be unpredictable. It's a false flag. But I'll say this one does get me somewhat concerned. You know, we're talking high-tech military equipment here. And yeah, I want the White House to have the best stuff. It already has some pretty interesting top secret stuff on that roof. But drone warfare, it just makes me very curious if Trump's aware of the deep state's plans to do a siege against the White House or maybe even adversarial government. And my take, because remember, we've seen drones flying over our military bases, for quite some time now since Trump's took office. Are people out there testing to see what our reaction's going to be like? I don't know. Are people anticipating maybe something like an EMP against the DC area or maybe our military bases or any structure or geographic area in our country that's important? And if that's the case, do we have the technology to where we're going to be able to, have tech up in the air or mobile after an EMP? I don't know. There's just something about this drone port that just has me very curious. And for those of you that saw the Overwatch and the Guardian episode from about 2 weeks ago when we had John Redembo on there, you saw a dream that I shared with him. And I think the combination of that dream and then this post, y'all see where I'm going with that, right? It makes me, I don't know. This one does raise a level of concern in me. So again, just pray for our president, pray for our country. And let's just hope that there's no there. And this is preventative, precautionary, just because it makes sense. On Second Thought 3 in the chat says, Alpha, need to check out Amanda Grace podcast from Monday evening. Drop the link in the comments. There's so much going through my mind through these shows. I try to write these things down, but if you can, drop me the link because time isn't on my side to go in and search for it. So if you don't mind, on Second Thought, I would appreciate if you put in the comments. Then we get this post right here. Do I have this one for you? I don't think I do. I don't. But it's Trump. It's a 24-second clip. It's on May 30th. And let me play it for you without the sound. It's just literally the sound of just the jets flying in the air. But I mean, this is badass looking. I mean, this is, talk about flexing, right? And again, this is 8:20 p.m. my time on Pacific. This would be 9:20, 10:20, 11:20, or 23:20 on the East Coast. And so if we go to 11:20, it brings us to April 10th. Clarify, Chongqing Tuesday demand, Xi confirmed tariff reduction Tuesday, China, cars, articles provide foundation, major import Ford.us start queue. Well, this post again is from the 30th. So the first Tuesday after that, if this is going to have any context, is going to be tomorrow. Or for some of you, we're into Tuesday now. It's still almost 11 o'clock here on the West Coast. So I would definitely say, let's watch the headlines for China tomorrow. We know that Trump was posting a lot of China photographs this last week. So tomorrow, I would be looking out for any media information that has to do with China or with Ford. That's kind of what I'm looking for tomorrow, given this post. If we look at military time, 23:20, wireless emergency alert. What a wonderful day. That's October the 3rd is the date. And this is presidential alert. So if we get an alert here pretty soon, well, at least they told us it was coming. And if we go to post 24, since it was a 24-second video, that brings us to any person making statements they will not be seeking re-election was put into submission for the betterment of the country. Not all will be prosecuted and all will do as told. You will see more of this occur, not normal yet, disregarded, and even on the D side. And we have seen this. Again, Swalwell gone, a lot of Democrats gone. And again, if you go to that post earlier today from Cornyn, remember, 2 Timothy 4:7, 2, 4, and 7. So 2:47, it kind of seems like maybe he was saying thank you. Is that kind of referencing this? I don't know. Maybe. Let's keep going. Trump put out this video. This one is 10 minutes. We're not going to play the whole thing. But essentially, Trump is like, you got to watch this. You got to watch this. And again, I'll interest of time, I'm not going to play the 10-minute one, but I'll drop the link in the comments for those of you that do want to read it or watch it. I'm sorry. And then we'll push into this one. Trump is trying to trigger everybody anti-Trump and anti-MAGA by putting himself on the face of Mount Rushmore. And again, there you have Washington, or Trump looking up at Washington. Is there something to that? I don't know. Because then Trump goes and he posts this. Trump and Washington. A whole lot of Trump in Washington. You know, new beginning, new country, revolution. I don't know. But I know Trump doesn't do things accidentally. So I don't know. You guys can let me know what you guys think. But if we go to posts containing George Washington to populate, you know, 14 is extremely important. You know, we've covered this at length on DEFCON. Remember, George Washington only mentioned twice, and those are the two. Trump signaling something. I'll let you guys be the deciding vote. And if we go based off the time, 1751 takes us July 29, 2018. Every CIA, MOS tactic of infiltration and internal disruption is being deployed on the board, central hub. The world is here. Recognize the movement is bigger than anyone can possibly imagine. Peace to strength. And why does that matter? Because how did we start this show? Well, we started it right here with Salito's post, remember? The enormity of what is coming will shock the world. I don't know. All this stuff resonates, or maybe we just find it that way because we're looking for it that way. That could be it. Then takes us to Otis. This guy does great work too. Trump went Q again. What's he talking about? Trump put, I understand artists are getting the yips having to do with their performances on Wednesday, and he's highlighting what here, Donald J. Trump and America is back. And that takes us to this picture from the boards, 3547, for those of you who want to look it up. America is back. I like it. I like it, Otis. Let's keep going. Otis 17 says, new Trump, it means you. Let me explain real quick for all you who don't understand the correlation. If you ever posted on the Coons, when you posted a post, up there was the timestamp and those other things related to that particular post. Reside you would see you on it. All others, not your post, stated anonymous, or in the case of Q, the post there was a Q there. So hopefully that made sense. And so pointing at you, it means you anons. It's called by the boss, Q plus, we are ready, sir. And we kind of talked about that at length right there a little while ago. So Melissa Redpill again, this is now the #1 song across all charts. If President Trump pointing us to fight on June 14th, he's the fighter. This is now the #1 song across all charts about me. Such an unexpected honor. And this one I will play for you guys.
Up and down, counting out, smiling through the taste of blood in my own mouth. I got bruises and broken bones, but they don't know I ain't in this ring alone. I'm a fighter. No one can say that I'm a running hider. I was born to be a do-or-dyer, a make-it-righter. Don't throw that towel just yet. Don't cash in that last bet, 'cause I hit harder when I'm tired. I'm a fighter. I get back up, that's what I do. I didn't soldier on this far just to lose. So take your shot. Is that all you got? I'm a fighter. No one can say that I'm a running hider. I was born to be a do-or-dyer, a make-it-righter. Don't throw that towel just yet. Don't cash in that last bet, 'cause I hit harder when I'm tired. Yeah, I'm a fighter. Oh, no one can keep me down. They didn't know, but they know now. That I'm a fighter. No one could say that I'm a running hider. Don't cash in that last bet. Don't throw that towel just yet. fighter.
Gotta love our country. You know who else loves our country? Our president. LA's Q puts 538. Q530 includes beware of the major false flag attempts this week. And again, going off the timestamp and Trump kissing the flag. And then, of course, on the post it says beware of major false flags. So again, let's keep our country and our president in the prayers. And let's just hope that if they had intentions to do one, that our good guys are able to stop them. And then shout out to my brother Josh Scavino. Every journey has an end. June 1st Delta, Roger Ball has been called. Good and green, timestamp Delta inverse. And what is he talking about? Scavino puts out this post. This was last night. Every journey has an end. I actually did a comment to this too on something else. But when you go to the timestamp in Delta, Roger Ball has been called good and green. And again, that one comes from the reverse on the timestamp, which will bring us to this one, 302 from the 203, and for green, Q. And so that's them putting this together. And again, this is from Scavino's Every Journey Has an End. Let me see if I pull this up, if it will populate the comment that I put. There it is. So he put Every Journey Has an End, and then I put my comment. I don't know if you guys can see here, but I put part of the journey is the end, and that comes from Endgame. And so I think a lot of meanings and messages are in play right here. Definitely agree with calling the ball on green, but I also think every journey has an end, and part of the journey is the end from Endgame. I think there's some relevance there too. So now as we bring this into the final part of the show, bring your chairs up, put your trays away. I'm tired, you're tired, but we got work to do. August 17th puts President Trump wants you to hear this report from John Solomon. And hold on, I got to hit mute on that real quick. You guys can't hear, but it was playing in my ear. Anons want you to take a look at the video clip. Leakers. They did it knowingly and willingly. Trump won't stop until the public sees justice done upon them. And again, Trump is putting these clips out there because he wants us to see them. And there's probably a reason for that. So let's take a listen to this one.
We have obtained new documents. These documents were previously redacted by Attorney General Bondi's Justice Department after they were found by Kash Patel. They detail extensive mounted effort by the FBI to identify classified leaks during the Russiagate and other scandals of the last decade. And we had some big news off these documents previously. Adam Schiff was accused by one of his own staffers on the Democratic House Intelligence Committee staff of authorizing classified leaks, but there were lots of suspicions about FBI leaking. Of course, no punishment, because that's what always happens in Washington these days. We don't ever seem to punish anyone despite all of our outrage and indignation. But what was blacked out of those documents was a bombshell revelation, something that Kash Patel had found when he went through the documents at the FBI in the secret drawers of the FBI. To her credit, we brought this to the attention of Attorney General Pam Bondi, and she worked with her staff and got the information unredacted, declassified. And this is what it shows. Federal prosecutors in 2019 gathered evidence from James Comey's top lieutenants, two of them, in fact, that he authorized the leak of classified information to reporters just before the 2016 election, but they, the prosecutors, declined to bring charges, according to recently declassified memos. The bombshell revelations involve the former FBI General Counsel, James Baker, and the former Comey Chief of Staff, James Rabickian. They were memorialized in these documents that Kash Patel found earlier this year. Bondi intervened. She got the redactions lifted. And what you learn from it is that the U.S. Postal Inspection Service agents were called in to investigate the FBI. The FBI couldn't investigate itself. And that multiple prosecutors also were brought in to investigate. One of the primary leaks they were looking at was two pieces of classified information leaked to the New York Times in October 2016, just before the presidential election where Donald Trump defeated Hillary Clinton. And this is the direct quote from the memo that is the money quote, the why you should care quote. The investigation revealed that James Baker disclosed U.S. government classified information to the New York Times under the belief he was ultimately instructed and authorized to do so by then FBI Director James Comey. For example, during interviews, Baker indicated FBI Chief of Staff James Rubicki instructed him to disclose the information to the New York Times, and Baker understood Rubicki was conveying this instruction and authorization from Comey. Now, the memos don't say what specific classified information was leaked, or whether Comey was in a position to declassify it or someone else did it for him. But they obviously kept pursuing it. They thought it was criminal nature. That's why all of these things were brought in. And eventually, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington and future Special Prosecutor John Durham were brought in, and everybody declined not to bring charges. In other words, they were going to walk.
So, as this sets us up, and I was just doing some adjustments here, folks, while that was playing. This gets us into the first of what's going to be probably mini conversations over the next few weeks on saving Israel for last. And when you go and you put that post in, there's one single post that is going to pop up, 9/16, March 10th, 2018. And it says, we are saving Israel for last, very specific reason, not mentioned a single time. Which takes us into this post from earlier today. Benjamin Netanyahu puts, tonight I spoke with President Trump and told him that if Hezbollah does not cease attacking our cities and citizens, Israel will attack terror targets in Beirut. This stance of ours remains unchanged. In parallel, the IDF will continue to operate as planned in southern Lebanon. Which then takes us into this article. Mark Caputo puts, quote, what the fuck are you doing, end quote. Trump lit into Netanyahu over the Lebanon bombing, in the whole quote. You're fucking crazy. You'd be in prison if it weren't for me. I'm saving your ass. Everybody hates you now. Everybody hates Israel because of this, end of quote. And so that comes from the reporting on Axios from, again, Mark Caputo and Barak Ravid. So again, is this true? Was this a statement that President Trump really said to Bibi on the phone? Or if you've followed any of the shows that I've done with Ghost before, you know that Barak Ravid, according to the assessment that Ghost does, and I think I align pretty much with that assessment with Ravid, that any information that the White House sends him, he's going to put it. He'll put a little bit of a spin on, but he's going to put it. So are they just trying to weaponize this conversation because of what Bibi said? So did Bibi go and put out this statement, and it's not what he told Trump, right? This is what Bibi's saying to look like he's flexing on Trump. So then Trump leaks to Caputo or Ravid, hey, well, this is what I told Bibi. Because again, it's this perception war. Because then Trump comes out and says, I had a very productive call with Netanyahu, and maybe this will be the end of it, hopefully for eternity, right? That's his place. So it's like, who's controlling the narrative here on that one? I find it very interesting. Nonetheless, whether it's a true statement or not a true statement, the timing of it is what matters. And again, you guys know that I've been pushing back against Owen tremendously on his stance against MAGA and Trump. But Owen makes a very interesting statement here because this is how people are going to interpret it. Owen says, the only question is Trump exposing Israel intentionally or accidentally? The results don't lie. Israel has never been more unpopular in America. Now, what I will say is Israel's not unpopular in America. It's unpopular on social media. It's unpopular on areas of operations because, again, you have a large portion of Christian Zionists that are clueless to any of this propaganda wars and AIPAC and the Muslim Brotherhood and all this other stuff that's going on. Strictly biblical. It's strictly the way they were raised. But the point being is, in the information war, this is a statement that I think has relevance. Is Trump exposing Israel intentionally or accidentally? And if you've been following the shows that I do on Sundays with Ghosts at 2 p.m. Eastern, the Middle East in 30 minutes-ish, you would have seen, I think we just wrapped up, I think, episode 30 or 31. You would have seen over the last 31 weeks that it's absolutely intentional, but it's not meant to look intentional. It's supposed to look organic. And so, again, just wanted to put that out there. This next section right here, which I'll either save it for DEF CON or I'll do a special episode this week, is the alien section of tonight. But I don't want to get into that because I am exhausted. We just breached the 3-hour mark about 8 minutes ago. And I actually want to have a good conversation here. So we'll either cover it on DEF CON on tomorrow night with Josh, or if not, I'll do a special episode later this week and we'll just do that particular segment. But I do want to cover is the way I intended to end this show. And then we'll get into Rumble Rants, the Super Chats, and a special little gift on the way out. Rapid Response 47 says, billions were spent to convince you this is evil. And that's what Trump posted. And I truly believe the president is taking us back to the nuclear family, to where the father had enough to put the kids in college, have a family vehicle, take vacations, and pay the home. And the mom was the cornerstone of the family and took care of the family and took care of the home. And it was the mom that was raising kids, not a daycare, not a YMCA, not an institution, not a tablet. I truly believe that they are righting the ship for our economy, that they're going to right the ship for everything in this country. And I truly believe that in our lifetime, we are going to see an America that reverts back to this type of family and this type of atmosphere. And the only difference is we're going to be in a time of the golden age and technology. I truly, truly believe this in my heart, but it's going to be a fight to get there. Deep State's just not going to give up. The next post. Syntax. Should I release the Pinecone files? This is the woman that was dating Massey shortly after his wife had passed away, and started to share information about him and what went down and the potential of his actions leading to her being terminated. Well, I wanted to let you guys know that I have been in contact with this woman, and we will be having her on the show for a very open and honest conversation. When is to be determined. So probably later this week, I'll have an announcement of when that episode is going to be. I'm not sure if it's going to be recorded or live. I'm going to leave that up to her, whatever she feels more comfortable with. Obviously, she is on the sites of the deep state apparatus and the apparatus that backs Massey, which is a large one. So again, I will do my best to assist her to do it in a way that gets us the information that we all need to hear for clarification and assessments, but also make sure that we protect her. You guys know I take care of my guests. Miss Kitty says, I'm so late. You're very late. We're bringing the show to an end. So again, there's a little of some good news that's coming. We're going to get to have a conversation with this woman. So I look forward to that. Which then takes us into the White House. Trust in Trump. Just sit back and relax. It will all work out in the end. It always does. President Trump. And I truly hope that tonight's show was enough information to get you guys to take a step back and be like, all right, what Alpha shared with us tonight, the information is there. The receipts are there. His perspective is one that I could recognize as plausible and logical. And I can trust in the president. This is not a cult following like they tell you. When they say, oh, you guys believe in Trump because you're a cult. No, I believe and trust in my president because it's an educated decision. Because when I look at his first administration and what I look at what he's done in 18 months in this administration, the man has earned his trust. He's earned to have faith in him. He's earned the right to cook because he's been doing phenomenal work. So it's an educated decision. It's not a blind following the way they like to sell it. Which then takes me into the last one. And the White House says, to those negatively chirping quiet, it will all work out in the end. And then it's the birds that are doing a little chirping. I thought I had this for you guys, but I guess I don't. And then at the end, Trump, when he does this, you hear in the background. So Trump is telling the panicans. So now with that, I am going to go full screen with me. Take that off. We're going to do Rumble Rants in the super chat. So give me 1 second as I put this in a way that I can share it on the screen. And then I will close this out in prayer. You guys took care of me in Rumble Rants, so thank you. So I will first show the super chat because we have a super chat that came in over here. So, there it is. Put on the screen. Sherry Bertrand, 4026, $10 super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Alpha, fellow Patriot. God bless you all, and God bless America. Let's go. Thank you for that support. Very, very, very much. Let me get this back. And now I will bring the Rumble Rants on the screen for you guys to see. There you go. And like Kim K, we'll start from the bottom. And now we're her. $20 coming in from Difo. Alpha, are you tracking them, allowing the data centers to then get repurposed for industrialization? Some played themselves and others made some backdoor deals. What a glorious plan. There's a lot going on with the data centers. Hey, just so everybody knows, data centers are not new, folks. They've been around for a very long time. So one of the questions you got to ask is the hype over this and maybe the location positioning and some of these things. But also got to remember is, do you guys remember how big how big computers were? Well, TVs too, but do you remember how big computers were in their infancy? And how big are computers now? Before, a computer was like what? Half of a conference building or warehouse or something. Things were massive, right? And it would fill up an entire apartment. And now we fit these things in our back pockets. Well, that technology is going to advance at a much more rapid rate. So just remember, and maybe I'll do a show on just the data centers because there's a lot that goes into play with this, with the energy AI race that we have with the CCP. But I'm tracking what you're saying, Di. $5 coming in from Lisa 888. Tina is finally out of that hellhole. So grateful. Yes, she is. And prayers for her because, you know, she's out of there. But that stuff stays with you for a minute. Q Patriot Angel gifted 1 subscription. Thank you for that, Q Patriot Angel. Thank you for supporting me and my audience. Difo gifted 5 subscriptions. Thank you, Difo, for supporting me and also supporting my audience. Thank you for that. Patel Patriot. Patel has rated the stream. That was earlier tonight. So thank you to all the bandlanders that came over from Baseless Conspiracies. My lips are sticking together. I'm so tired, folks. $10. Alan S. 333. Keep up the great work, Alpha. We appreciate you. Thank you for that, Alan. $1 for dollar from G Fontes 119. I wonder if Massey still gets to keep all the solar panels on his Kentucky mansion that his ego made the focus of his documentary, released for his campaign and any in the future. $100. Damn. Dropping a Benjamin. Thank you, Boom Diggity. Damn. Have you been able to watch this short speech by Secretary Bezant and the great interview directly after the speech with Larry Kudlow? It's worth the time. Well, let me grab this real quick before it disappears. Give me 1 second, folks, because I don't want to lose that. Hold on. This is the part of being live. You guys got to roll with me. All right. So thank you for that, Boom Diggity. I will watch it tomorrow because after this, I'm brushing my teeth and I'm going to sleep, and you guys will understand why. I'll explain to you. Meerkat is now a monthly supporter. Thank you for that, Meerkat. Welcome to the Warrior family. Much appreciated. Tamara S is now a monthly supporter. Welcome to the Warrior family, Tamara. Much appreciated. And then boom, diggity, you weren't done. $50. Candace's father-in-law, Lord Michael Farmer, City of London, his whole life. Just read a couple of sentences in his article. Also, he is known as Mr. Copper. Lord, yeah, there's a lot with this Candace thing, but let me grab that link real quick too, because I have a Substack that I've been working on with them, and I'm curious if that's one of the ones that I have. All right, so we got that going. Thank you, Boom Diggity. $10 coming in from Merlin 5. Hey, Alpha, keep up the awakenings. The swamps of Florida native kids are USA Air Force airmen, both son and daughter and son-in-law. MAGA is more than a movement. It is a mandate by the America breaking free of mental bondage. Heck yeah, it is. And you definitely did right by your kids because you raised some warriors. That's obvious. $10 again from Merlin. Got every Patriot 6. Just call upon me and I'll be a warriors to help others survive. I'm crippled, limited, but I can shoot. Vote, stand strong. Yeah. Listen, where there's a will, there's a way. So I got you on that 100%. And then $5 coming from 808 France. I'm in your foxhole, Alpha. Much love to you. Aloha from Maui. One of these days, I'm going to go to the islands. That's on my bucket list, 808. Me and the fams, we got to get out there. $10 from Diane Laporte Clump. USAF retiree, disabled, and I teach people how to instruct our servants and trustees in government to hold them accountable. You followed me on X. Husband's account now, Clump Daryl. Okay, I'll make sure to get him as well. And thank you. And thank you for doing stuff. You know, still in the fight. I love that. $1 for dollar from Diane Laporte Clump again. Every journey has an end. Every end is a new beginning. 100%. You know, I heard in a video while I was at the gym this weekend. And it was this ain't a new chapter. This is a new book. And I was like, damn, I like that. I was like, I hear these things. I was like, man, I got to find a way to share that stuff with my audience. And then boom, diggity, coming again with $20. Damn. Had to share this. There is a meme about discombobulate from a 2009 Sherlock Holmes fight scene. No way. I'm probably going to have to share that one on next week's Just Alpha there. Boom, diggity. Get me fired up with that one. With Sherlock Holmes, huh? Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to dig into that one. That is pretty cool. Hold on. I just lost my place. All right. And that was the last one. So we will take the rumbles out. Let me see if any super chats came in at the end. No, we're good there. Okay, folks. So I have a very cool video that I'm going to share with you here at the end. I want to give credit to this guy so you guys know where it came from because he does phenomenal work all the time. Again, like I said, so many of you Anons do phenomenal work. And hold on, because I have something tripping in. Okay, there, I fixed it. It was just a key. So much work. So this video I'm going to play at the end of the show comes from Anon55. And this guy's just badass at the work that he does. So again, make sure you go visit his social media site on X at Anon55. And then when you're there, go to his profile and grab the links. Go support his Rumble channel, his different channel. Like, you're going to love this video. I'm telling you guys, it's bad ass. And it's the perfect way to put a bow on tonight's show. And if you want more of that, you guys got to go follow him. That's what I'm going to say. So as always, the way we do it on Just Alpha, I'm going to close us out tonight on a prayer. And then I'll play the video. And then actually, let me see if there's an ad. Maybe Rumble can give me a little chatter on the way out. It does. Here, let's read this one real quick. I'll pay some bills, folks. Don't mind me for a second. You probably noticed Rumble is growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's Rumble Premium, an easy way to upgrade your experience. With Premium, you get an ad-free viewing across the platform. You know, I know you guys love that. No pre-rolls, no interruptions, just the content you came for. Plus, premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind the scenes, drops, and more from your favorite creators. Right now, Rumble is offering $10 off an annual subscription. So just go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO at checkout. That's rumble.com/premium, promo code studio at checkout. No more ads, more freedom, and content you actually care about. That's the deal. And if you guys go to our channels, for those that are verified over here on Rumble as content creators, you'll see certain episodes have the word premium below them. These are the episodes that they're talking about. So you would have access to that stuff right there. So again, thank you for that. And whatever platform you're watching on, if you're in a position to subscribe, definitely appreciate it. If you don't, I'll keep my content free anyways. So with that, Father, thank you for another day of life. Thank you for taking care of my son. Thank you for making him as smart as you did, and for allowing me the opportunity to see my son graduate. A lot of my audience knows a few years ago when I was sitting in that solitary confinement cell, one of the many worries I had was that I wouldn't be home to see my son graduate. And when every sign was there to lose hope, I kept my faith in you, and victory came in your name. Father, I hope that my story and my testimony will remind others right now that may not be seeking you, may even be mad at you, may even blame you, to remind them to just surrender whatever it is that they're going through, and to have that same faith when everything in life tells us that there's no more reasons to have faith, when everything tells us just to give up. Father, allow them the opportunity to recognize that they just need to surrender to you. And Father, let them see your miracles. Father, as a nation, I know that rough times are coming ahead of us, and I ask that you protect our country, you protect our president, you protect our military, and that you watch over all of our discernments, that you give us the eyes to see the truth, the ears to hear the truth, and that you use our tongues to share truth and not our own motives and agendas. Father, we all fail. I fail. But Father, I ask that you just forgive our country for the wrongs that we've done and help us to right our country to help save this world. We pray and we ask all this in your son, Jesus' name. Amen. Well, folks, we're 36 minutes away from midnight here on the West Coast. And I got to be up in 6 hours because I'm going to be on Badlands Daily with Ghost. I'll be covering for CanCon. As a matter of fact, I didn't include him in our prayers. CanCon's fine, and I don't know how much of what he shared publicly, so I'm not going to do that. But I just want to make sure nobody's worried about CanCon. CanCon is fine. But, you know, he does have something going on with his family, and prayers are needed. So please keep my brother Brian Lupo CanCon in your prayers tonight for his family. I would definitely appreciate that. You guys know how much he sacrifices. So tomorrow in the morning, I will be covering for him with Ghost on Daily. So I got to be up in a few hours. I'm going to be tired as shit tomorrow, folks, because then we still have my show at 9 p.m. Eastern, followed by DEFCON 0 on Badlands at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And I will always sacrifice for you guys. I no longer wear the uniform, the badge, or the gun. This is my battle. And so I just ask folks that I am an imperfect person, but I love this country. I love my family. I love you guys. And I don't want to quit, but I'm still vulnerable to all the things that you guys are. So just please keep me in your prayers too. Yeah, I would appreciate that. So with that, folks, we're on the way out. Smash the thumb, hit the heart, leave a comment, get this show into the leaderboard like you always do. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. Remember, at @Anon55, that's the person that needs the credit for this video. I'll catch you guys tomorrow night. Good night. God bless.
Those crimes.
Guilty of treason.
All right.
The tribunal finds you guilty on all 4 counts and sentences you to death by hanging. Guilty on all 4 counts. The tribunal sentences you to death by hanging.
tribunal finds you guilty on counts 3 and 4, sentences you to death by hanging.
Guilty on count 4, crimes against humanity. Death by hanging. Guilty on all 4 counts. The tribunal sentences you to death by hanging. Guilty on counts 3 and 4. The tribunal sentences you to death by hanging.
On all 4 counts, guilty. Death by hanging.
Guilty on counts 3 and 4, death by hanging.
The work of this tribunal is now complete.
You are accused of treason. The court finds you guilty.